Hello, and welcome to Juggz episode 5. 5, 3, 2, 1. No, we did one.
I really enjoy that. I enjoy it.
Five question mark.
5 questions. Whoa, wait, who's this? Today, we have a special guest on the show. You may recognize the voice.
The voice, probably not the face.
I'm going to be like, do the voice, do the voice, do
It's
the
actually
voice.
quite upsetting now that you can see you in person that you haven't used the face. The face is a big sell.
Yeah.
Honestly insulting.
The beard was the sell. The face was just entirely something that Eliphas ended up coming up with. One of Alphabus's artists.
It's my favourite thing is law videos and law tubers. I'm going to call you a law tuber.
Law
A law tuber.
A vlogger.
And you got Pete the Wargamer. I never knew what Pete the Wargamer looked like until I saw him in real life, and I was like, he's 12.
He's 12.
He's 12.
He's a tall 12.
Fuck you. That started the show off strong.
I love Pete. I love Pete, but I was just like,
You're
how
12.
can he sound so manly and
Be
like,
12?
and just look like a
Wow, Pete.
rosy-cheeked 12-year-old?
Incredible start.
Yeah, there we go.
How do you feel about that?
I mean, you
I
look
feel
about
good.
15s.
I said you looked really young as
Yeah.
well.
I'll
Something
take it.
I'd like you
Thank
to
you.
know that I feel uncomfortable with everything they've said so far.
But yeah, we've got
It's nothing but compliments. It's been a
Oculus
great
Imperia.
Hello.
Off
Hi.
the internet. What
Hello.
does the lore and such?
Your man who does the lore.
Your man, what does the lore with the cool voice? And it's just like a complete coincidence that you're here. I literally found you on the street this morning.
Quite literally,
true.
I was just strolling down in Nottingham Street with a coffee, and then I did a double take in the window of a
just
cafe.
pointed at
and it's
each
like,
other,
hang on,
like-
I recognize that makeup.
And that was me.
And then you saw Pete. But yeah, it's lovely to have you here. I know a lot of people are going to be excited because lore YouTubing is like, it's what did you call it? Lore tubing.
Law tubing.
Lore tubing.
Law tubing.
Lore tubing is like, it's hella fucking popular.
Lubing.
Like, lubing.
Call it lubing.
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 I love that.
That's some sort of backwoods
Lorbing.
Canadian
Lore, you get
interactivity.
lubing or lorbing. You only get.
Thank
No.
you so much for having me. It's an absolute delight to be here.
We thank you for coming on our Jugs.
Thank you
It's
for
very nice
coming
of you.
on our Jugs.
He said the thing.
But yeah, how are you? So whenever we start a podcast, we kind of go around and just like have a little chat.
Correction, we try and go
We
round.
tried, and then
It took 50 minutes last week.
before we
5-0.
got
I was watching. It was great.
You're a Jugs head.
Of course I am.
stop.
It's a great show. It's great.
Appreciate
So
that.
yeah, I'm going to start, Rob, because you always start with us. I'm going to.
Well, no, good. I think maybe I appreciate that. Maybe we
Why
should
do
ask
you
the guest.
never let me do anything?
No, okay.
Every single time I'm
We're
like,
bringing
let's
the
talk.
relationship to the podcast now,
You
apparently.
never,
Apparently,
you never let me have anything.
dishes are always dirty.
They are always dirty. Anyway, Robert Symes.
Hello.
Doxing again within the first. Robert George Symes.
What is it?
How are you this week?
I'm good, thank you very much. It's been an interesting week. Delivered a lot of goblins at the beginning of the week, which
Wonderful,
is fun.
wonderul.
And then
I didn't know you were a midwife.
I was going to say, like, maternally or...
It was a hard birth. I have
Like a
been
goblin
walking
mother.
like a cowboy all week. It's been
Well, you are the Goblin Queen, so I didn't know you had eggs. Oh.
So yeah, we've been doing that, and we've been working on some terrain as well.
Tell us
Made
about
some-
terrain.
Well, we're working on some terrain for Age of Sigmar. Sorry, should be just to be clear, Age of Sigmar compatible, not actually for Age of Sigmar.
Got you.
Games Workshop
Time
lawyers out my
of
face.
Simgar.
Yeah, which has been some fun, like additional projects, and then I've been editing Jugs, and then making videos about Age of Sigmar and Old World this week. We had a fun video this week about because the game has now been out long enough. I'm in this kind of odd place with
Well, Old World.
the Old World,
Yeah.
where it's only been out for like 4 months. I've already run 5 events.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So I've already run 5
First
events.
doubles event in the UK, I think,
Yeah, we
last
booked
week.
in the first doubles event in a few weeks.
Oh.
So yeah.
Oh, you did teams. That was it.
And then obviously when you make content, but the problem is when you make content, you're a little bit further ahead of the kind of general everyone else's vibe. You know, like if you're someone with a full-time job, you've got a family, you probably bought the starter box, and then you're like, cool, I've been able to do 10, 20 hours of hobby, maybe.
I built
you might
5
have just built
skeletons,
it.
yeah.
Yeah, which is why Peachy's videos are so handy, right? Being able to get armies done fast.
Yeah. I don't help you build them, but I help you paint them.
Oh, exactly. So I need to. We need to really be conscious. So this week we did a video, but like, cool. Do you want to start the old world? And that might seem really weird to do 4 months later, but we're trying to take all the lessons that we've learned from.
It's a good time to do it because now you know what's like fast to build, what plays good. If you just want like what kind of army, like that's smart actually.
Yeah, so we did that. Val had a hot take where he was like, "No dark elves. Dark elves should be deleted."
I hear Val got a little
take.
bit spicy on the internet.
I love my bondage elves. You can't get rid of the bondage elves.
They can't. You've literally
they already
strapped
technically
them to
have.
yourself. They ain't going anywhere.
They kind of have.
They tried to run and they're like.
Take the pole gag out. Sounds like a bag of knives falling down the stairs.
Maybe he's just a prude and he was scared of them. I don't know.
Just the sound of an elf just crinkling towards him. Like,
just made him uncomfortable.
Terrifying, honestly.
Made that this week as well, and then we put out. I actually done loads. I put out the Age of Sigmar stats for the past like 3 months. So we collate all the event stats together. We put that out as a video.
Cool.
That kind of provides like some good context for people. Most of what I try and do as videos is helping people make purchase decisions. It's kind of like, hey, do you want to... Someone's like, I'd really like to play this army. I'm like, well, don't get that because it's about to get a range refresh. Or, something along those lines. So that's what I've done. Age of Sigmar stats this week. I've done the which army to collect. We decided Beast of Chaos and Orcs and Goblin Tribes were the best ones.
Oh, yeah, you did a tier list of all of the starter boxes.
I saw that. It was really good.
That was for
was a
Age of
great
Sigmar
video.
last week.
Yeah, I saw that. I was watching
I like
it,
that. I was trying to guess. Can you guess? Wait, what
So this
was
is Age of Sigmar. So I did an all-world one this week,
Yeah.
Age of Sigmar last week.
What was your rating system based on?
For which one?
Charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent.
I understood that reference. I understood that reference.
Mighty Boosh.
No, that's not. You have a Mighty Boosh. But no, I meant the what was the one where you did like all of the starter boxes and you rated them?
Last week.
Was that last
That was
week?
the Age of
That
Sigmar.
one was
Age
my
of Sigmar.
favorite one because I got to go to the shop and guess which one you picked the highest, and that was a fun game.
That was fun.
Can you guys guess which one was picked the highest for charisma, uniqueness, nerve, and talent?
Was it the Caradron Overlords?
They were pretty high on charisma.
They were high. I can't remember now.
What one did I pick? I think I picked ogres and I picked Slanesh, but then you were like, no, because the Bliss Barb archers are too complicated.
Oh, they're horrible.
Yeah,
They're horrible.
We talk
Horrible.
about that often.
For me, it would be Citizen of Sigma.
I think that was high.
Sure, we should do, Peach. We should do a collab video because one of the things that I did, basically, we did the starter boxes. This is a video I did last week, and I was like, look, loads of people are going to try and get into Age of Sigmar now. Spearhead.
Oh yeah, for like the new edition, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I was like, right, if you're new and it's been really popular as a video, these are the boxes I would pick up and why. And different tiers.
Yeah.
Because some of them are good value. Some of them have models like ogres, which are probably going to get updates. So maybe you don't
So
want to buy
older sculpts and stuff like that.
Yeah, like if you like them, you like them. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, and if you buy that and then like 2 weeks later they're like, oh, we've released the same kit, but it looks more modern with 100 more bits, you'll be like, oh, darn.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so we chose Gits as like one of the most popular ones.
Yeah.
Just because it's...
It's just a cool box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a good box. It's a good box.
It's a
a
good
good
box.
box.
You get like 3 trolls, bunch of little dudes, some
But
mushrooms.
they're all useful, is the thing.
Yes.
All of those in a Gits list. Like I collect Gits myself.
do you
Like,
play Age of Sigmar?
I do.
Oh, I didn't know that.
No, AOS has been my primary game system
No
for
way.
the longest
That's
time.
fascinating.
Yeah,
What do you like about it?
Oh, I'm going to turn this on you now. Like, what?
Because you, so to be clear, you exclusively make like Heresy 40k lore. Is that fair?
I guess that's why I'm surprised.
I pretty much always do Heresy lore or 40k lore. I've dipped my toes into AOS because I wanted to try something different. All of those videos, like, they've been so much fun to write.
Yeah.
Because it's a complete change in how I approach it. Like,
Yeah, for
the
sure.
40k Heresy lore writing is very, like, I'm flexing my historical, like, college education. And then AOS is just writing, like, mythic fantasy.
Read a book, have you?
Yeah,
Read a
the odd couple, But
Mr. Fancy
the
Pants
AOS ones
Rich McGee
do-
over here.
the AOS ones do come like like you know on the YouTube thing, like, it's just like your last 10 videos every time AOS is like absolute bottom
I
one.
think we discussed this in our little Discord group because I think our friend Oscar wants to do some Age of Sigmar lore videos, and we're like, heck yeah, like I want to do one, and Gloomspike Gits, it's been in my to-do list, but we talked about this on, I think, a couple of episodes ago, as like every thumbnail needs a Space Marine in it, or it just bombs.
It doesn't, like, it's not that they would bomb for me so much as just like the Space Marine bump is ridiculous.
It's real, right?
It's fully real.
We should have
And,
had you on that episode.
That doesn't stop me from wanting to do AOS videos, but like, I mean, it has the obvious little chilling effect. Like I do 2 videos a month, so you know it's going to be. I have to prioritize.
I have a slow release schedule as well, so I appreciate that. I appreciate my 2 to 3 video a month brother.
But AOS is my first my. I was going to say because tabletop love.
That when I was an army painter, I'd like if I was doing an Age of Sigmar or a Warhammer army at home, I'd probably like paint stuff that's 40k.
Yeah,
because it's a disconnect from like the work.
Yep.
Is that why you have 2 different things? It's like focus for work and then
recently
hobby?
I've kind of come to feel that way about it. Like whether it's just like it's almost like the day job versus hobby thing. Like within the hobby, funnily enough. Like I do have an Alpha Legion army for the Heresy that I have not completed nor have ever played with because I end up just
very
getting...
Alpha Legion of you.
I know, right? It's Schrodinger's Alpha Legion
have
army.
you played with it?
Or have I?
Exactly.
It both exists and does not exist. But AOS has just been, it's more fun. It was more fun.
What's your army in AOS?
Ogre, Maw Tribes primarily, and I've got a Gits list that I've just been plugging together. I suffer from that cannot take to the tabletop without a fully painted army compulsion.
I feel you.
Nice.
Yeah, we like that.
Which means, but also shortened by the fact that like in Canada, winters are absolutely terrible, and they go
What
from...
do you mean? Like so cold
Can't
and
leave
long?
the house.
You get down December, January, February. You could have days as low as -20. Habitually, it'll just be like -8. Like there's a lot of snow, obviously, and it's just dark and terrible. But it goes from like November all the way to like the end of April, technically.
Oh my!
That's a long winter.
And it, like, you know, March and April isn't bad, but it's still gray and everything's dead, and you're not going to the park because everything is gray and dead. So you're not wanting to be outside a lot. So I have essentially like a hobby playing gaming season, which is November through to April, but that's also when I'm painting and doing the most. And then in summer, don't sit down to that hobby table for ages because it's like, I can be outdoors.
Yeah, because you spend the whole of winter hobbying. It's like you get a little mini lockdown every year. How fun.
But the problem is it ends up becoming cyclical. So I'll get to like November. I'm like, all right, what army am I doing now? And I'm building that. And by April, it's fully painted and ready to go.
That's kind of cool,
just in time for me to not play. Play it.
Yeah, I hear that. I do that.
I love that though. I miss army painting. I haven't painted an army since I was like 24 or something, and it's really like I really want to do it. Like I bought a bunch of the what was it? It was a Gloomspite Gits, but I wanted a Troggoth army. That was it. And I bought a load because it was my first game of Age of Sigmar. I used Trogs and they were such good fun. And they have like the bonk stonks where you get the big guy and you
beat someone.
You beat someone and you just smack him with the centipede. And it was like actually like such a fun army to like play.
Yep.
And I was like, I gotta paint it. I am the world's slowest painter now. I miss being shit at painting. I painted so much quicker when I was shit at painting.
Don't worry, I got you back.
Apparently I have as well.
Yeah, same. Just ship it over to me. I'll be like, here you go.
I need to
contrast and a dry brush.
in that order. It's like reverse slap, chop slap. Coming soon. Slippity slop.
So actually, that was one of the metrics for like the
What, like how easy it is to paint, which is why
how easy
Bliss
is
Barb
to paint,
Archers
how easy is it to build? Because obviously, like, you know, there's lots of people who are excited, so I tried to just give them some sort of context, and then maybe how the army builds into something, but without knowing the 4th edition rules, can't possibly know what that is.
How much are they changing it? Like, I don't really know anything about Age of Sigmar 4th. Like,
it seems like most of it is like a copy and paste. I tried to make this point a lot now. Like the dev on any of their game systems is quite low. Like it's not really a focus.
What do you mean by dev? Using a lot of big short words? I don't understand.
Big short words are the best.
Big short words. It's like big words, which you like put down to like short little words that I know are big secretly.
Big short words.
Big short words.
Big short words.
As distinct from acronyms.
Yes.
Entirely distinct from acronyms.
Oh, that's the word, which is also a big word.
If the YouTube comments could all just be, for this video, be in big short words now, please.
Can everyone just use acronyms for the comments?
I will take big short words over just corporate lingo. Like never circle back to something. Never
big
boil,
short words.
Don't boil the ocean. I
don't want to see something from 40,000 feet.
Thinking.
Blue sky thinking.
That was one that used to use in Games Workshop all the time.
That's just daydreaming, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember some of the other ones that we had when we were there, but there were tons of little.
My favourite was galvanise the team. I was
what
make
mean?
them so they can't rust. I don't understand. Stop them from rusting.
De-rust the team.
De-rust the team.
The most toxic thing they did was feedback. We could do that another. We'll do that.
Yeah,
We'll get the black and the red book out for that
perfect.
one. We'll get that.
Anyway, the TLDR is that they don't actually the game is probably very similar. Will Age of Sigmar 4 be fun? 100%.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. Why?
Heck yeah.
And all of their games are fun because you and your friend are probably quite fun people, and you're gonna have a fun time playing it. Like I really think the crunchiness of rules has no effect on you having a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
So it's going to be fun.
You
absolutely.
make your own fun.
Exactly. Yeah, 100%. But you want to try and give some people some good advice. So how different is it going to be? Not that different.
That's
if
good
you're
for people
someone
that
who
already
is
play.
like if you play even once a month, the rules are not going to be different enough that it matters.
Oh, good.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's nice.
God, that's good news for me
Yeah,
because I
that's
play
really good
like a few times a year.
Yeah, exactly.
I always want to do more, but it's just
But
like
I think
I'm the
that's
same.
I think
I'm the
that's
same.
you're the average person. Like I think most people have like an army which they work on and they work on and they work on and they don't switch it very often or anything like that. Like it's their army and they don't play super often.
Yeah.
Like I think that's normal. That's certainly when I was like more that like at my local Games Workshop, I played like at the most like 2 times a month, right? And I thought I was really, really into it, but I think that's average.
I changed my dynamic during lockdown because
Switch it up.
Yeah, I switched it up. So I used to build armies like religiously, like paint an army, play a couple of games. That'll get me enthusiastic to play the next, like build up the next unit and play the next game and stuff like that. So that's how my ethos was like do an army, play a game, add stuff to it,
Nice.
carry on
That's
doing
cool.
that.
Very nice.
Did that for a long time, loved it. Lockdown hit, did 3 armies, never played a single game, waste of time. I was like,
I don't know. You have 3 armies.
never played a game with him.
That's cool.
Still
though.
never played a game with him.
That's cool though. I don't know. I
never
think
played a
it's
game
cool.
with him.
The trap that I fell into with army building was the idea that just like, well, with this game system, I'll get my army, but wouldn't it be nice to have a second army?
Yeah.
That
But what
my
about
friends
3
could
armies?
play with me. Meanwhile, none of my like friends are really super duper into the idea of it in the
No.
way that like
Yeah.
would reasonably justify this in
Yeah.
any capacity.
I have a friend that does the same. When he gets a box set, he paints both armies so that someone can come in and play.
perfect.
It's a great
That's
idea.
cute.
I mean, that's
That's
what I've
sweet.
started doing
Super
now,
cool.
but I've gone into the mode of skirmish games
yeah.
because I still paint the same amount in a year, but I'm scratching more itches, and the games don't last as long, so I get more games in. So I found that this is my new way of like living my life of hobby.
I have like a 9-hour video essay on this subject, 100%.
What is it?
Like,
give,
it's
give,
just
give
about-
us, give us a title.
The title is "You're doing wargaming wrong."
Click.
Yeah. Click. Right, you're just doing
Wait, are
it
you in
wrong.
the thumbnail like this?
I was going to say, give us a
Like-
thumbnail face.
Yeah.
What's the thumbnail
No, I'm not
face?
doing that.
Is it?
Not doing that.
I'm thinking this. I'm
You
thinking
also
this,
need to
and it's
have-
a space marine with an X through it, and you going.
But also, or an interrobang with an arrow pointing
Yes, yes,
towards
a
it.
circled arrow.
Yeah.
Cross.
Okay, so I won't make the video.
I'm just giving you the ideas for free.
Like, I fully agree. I fully vibe with that though because the local hobby group ran a Moortime campaign the other year.
Trendy.
All the
and
cool kids.
All the cool.
We discussed this. All the cool
Was it
kids
at
play
the
more
coffee
time.
shop?
No, it was still in the same. It was the same hobby shop.
Not
And,
even
like,
in
Not
an
even in a
IPA
church.
brewery.
No, no,
Wow.
no, no.
Wow.
It was actually
least
in a
trendy
techno
Moortime.
club that none of you have heard about.
Perfect.
But no, it was great because I threw together a Witch Hunter warband. Like there's been plenty. Like it's a small enough rule set that obviously there's plenty of essentially net lists of just like I just need to be told what miniatures to buy.
I love that.
And then
Yeah.
had a blast converting them and just. It was the first time I'd ever used streaking grime. Imagine.
So good.
Rob's
So good.
addicted
So
to
good.
streaking grime.
It's incredible.
From MIG.
Rob's planning
Yeah,
from
okay.
MIG, not any other retailer of streaking crime.
Yeah.
Woo! Shots were fired.
As well, they should be. But that proved to be just like that was great. I got to do the campaign and did all that, and then partially I was thinking like, oh, should I just do skirmish games going forward because I'm such a hobby butterfly? And then here I am having finished a Chaos Dwarf army for the old world and being like, well, look, this Beastmen lot on
You just keep getting hotter and hotter.
Stop it, Rob! I'm right here.
Chaos Dwarfs is so good.
this Beastmen lot on Facebook Marketplace is an absolute steal. Never mind the fact that they are coated in about 6 layers of paint and take a monstrous amount of scrubbing. Somehow I have this idea that like, cool, this is my project now. Right as summer is starting, a Beastmen army for a complicated system. There's no way I'm getting a beginner into.
Didn't Beastmen then just get deleted? Like
from Age of Sigmar.
No, this is for Old World. This would be for Old World.
Then you're fine.
I'm fine. But like, if I'm to introduce someone to a gaming system, I'm introducing them to AOS. I'm not being like, right, so here's how you wheel a unit. I'm just like, I love Old World. Don't get me. That rule set is nostalgic and streamlined, and I love it. I love it. But
if you've ever worked in retail and you had to do intro games of Warhammer.
What's it like? How do you do an intro game of Warhammer?
One of my staff...
For little Timmy, who's like 16...
do the voice.
You ignore a lot of rules.
Hello, Mr. Peachy.
You go for the kill him on a 4+ kind of job. But I had one staff member, I love him to bits, but he didn't quite get the idea of like fun, fast, furious, death in the first turn. You won't know who he is. And he spent the first, because an intro game should take 15 minutes. 40 minutes in this intro was, and he's still explaining how a cannon worked in real life.
And what was the kid's face like? Was
the
he
kid,
just like,
the
kill
kid
me?
looked like he wanted to die. So we had to rescue him.
8,
we rescued him. I was like, oh, it's your lunch, mate. Off you go. We'll carry on. It's like, right, do you want to kill some stuff? I was like, yes, please.
Please, I've been waiting ever so long.
What do you want to kill?
Here's me walking into that and being like, the 13th Legion. like just launching in to be like, no, Timmy, you're not starting this until you fully appreciate the lore context.
You're the
starter
NPC
game is taking
that's
place.
like, have you heard of the
they're
High
wrong.
Elves? That's you.
Have you heard of the High Elves?
Oh, he said the thing.
Nice.
So my thesis will be about skirmish games, which is useful because this week,
video.
Mr. Peach, have you been doing anything to do?
Oh, segue!
Thank you.
Segue. I have been doing a video on Frostgrave.
Nice.
Frostgrave.
I started reading the rulebook the other day.
I told
I am
Peachy.
so
I told
chuffed.
Peachy.
Hearing you two talking about it, it's got me excited even more. But
honestly, we're excited to just like, because I think sometimes you do just need someone to like sit down and explain something to you for you to think it's cool. Because
That's
like,
hilarious that you're saying that
I
about
will
4
never
people who
listen to
literally
you.
sit down and explain to people on the internet.
you know what?
Sometimes you just need to do the job we all do.
Isn't that crazy? But you know what I mean? Like,
If only there's a way to monetize that somehow.
But yeah, I'd always heard of people playing Frostgrave and like Turnip 28 and stuff like that. But it wasn't until like you were like, no, Frostgrave is cool. I brought the book. Here's what it is. And then we met Max from Turnip 28 and we're like, oh, this guy is insane. This thing is so cool. That you're like, oh, this is actually the sickest thing ever.
Yeah. I mean, I played Turnip. I've got a warband for Turnip 28.
We have Turnip
What's your
in 2
regiment
weeks.
name?
Oh, fantastic.
TurnipCon, you're going to come out?
I will try and make it
just
then.
missed TurnipCon.
No, it's coming up in 2 weeks.
I will miss it because I won't be in the country.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Miss it, but-
What's your regiment?
So
called?
they're called the Maris Pipers.
Is it like homebrew or?
It's I've used the rules, but I've
yeah.
used a lot of like you would do. You use Perrys and Perry and Imperionics and
Obviously.
Knights and stuff. But I
Bury
based them all
them
on
for a
potatoes. So I got the Maris Pipers.
because it's a potato.
Well, the root vegetables.
Not pumpkins.
Sorry.
Not pumpkins.
You're not allowed
Not
pumpkins in
pumpkins, no,
Turnip
no,
28.
no,
No, we don't
Furious.
talk about
So
pumpkins.
I literally
Furious
just
about
found like potato names. So I've got the King Edwards, which are like the Royal
Why
Bodyguard.
do they sound so proper?
I know,
though?
Maris Pipers,
The
King
Maris
Edwards.
Pipers are perfect.
There's other ones which I've written down. I can't remember, but there's like baked fries. But yeah, I've got a small one. I was going to do another set talking about having 2 forces to offset. So when your mates come around, you can play with it. So I'm going to do some based on probably beetroot and then some that are potatoes.
So
the beetroots will be purpley blue.
With the beetroot ones, have you considered actually painting them using beetroot juice?
No, but I could do that as my
That would be
that's so
incredibly
turnip.
thematic.
That's so
and then
frickin'
imagine
turnip.
all the fust as it starts to go
All
off.
the what?
Fust.
Fust.
I think
Mold.
Mold.
Yeah.
He's trying to
Fust.
say mold. So
Does no one use the term fust for
I say,
mold?
the
I
first
say
time I've ever
fisty.
heard that word.
Like it's getting fisty.
Fust. It's just a bit.
I say fisty. Like
I'm just new to this side of the table.
Oh, maybe,
Yeah, completely.
maybe I'm using it wrong because it's just the Peach household
Artists,
used to
am I
use it
right?
all the
But
time.
you've been painting up some Frostgrave.
Frostgrave doing
yes.
a video, editing the video. So I literally, I don't do a deep dive. I'm kind of talking about like, I've discovered this game. So annoying because it's been around for 10 years. Well, it's bizarre, but why I'm excited. A couple of warbands have done the next steps of what
what's
I'm going to
the
do.
title for the video?
At the moment, on the thumbnail, it was like...
Why you should play Frostgrave.
I can't remember. I need to find it.
I like your thumbnail.
The best guy... No, that's the wrong one, Peachy. That is the wrong one. I've got finally the best war game ever. Better than Warhammer, question mark.
Space Marine Cross.
Algorithm engaged.
Space Marine Cross!
it's great.
Yeah, thumbnail sorted.
Well, what Frostgrave warband did you pick, if you don't mind telling us?
So I am one of these people that once I get into it, I get into it hard.
Yeah,
Okay.
you do.
Real hard.
That's what we've heard.
As opposed to everyone else on this table who just dips their toes into
None of us have done anything seriously in the hobby.
No.
Not a single goddamn
So I've done
second.
frivolous beings, a lot of us.
I started off with necromancers because I like raising the dead. I like to play with dead things. It's
you do.
Just the way of it.
Yeah.
We went through it the other night and we chose our
Oh, good. Yes. Yeah.
So
you want to tell me
you
second.
do yours first.
So I've got necromancers, and I just built a load of stuff and went, they look cool, and made sure I had a skull face. Ooh. They're black and red. I've gone for a scheme across the whole lot. Lots of thugs because they're free, but you can only have max of 10 figures. I've got a couple of like bodyguards for the necromancer. Then I realised you can raise a zombie, so I want to do a zombie, but maybe base it on my opposite warband, which are the... I still can't pronounce this very well. And in the video...
Your own warband.
They're called the Thermitage.
We spent ages on
the
that.
Gandalfy guys, right?
Yeah.
I've done a warband of them.
Oh, yeah, the Thwamatage.
Yeah,
Thwamatage.
Is that how that word is?
I don't know.
Absolutely no one knows.
No one knows.
I say
Do you
about
know?
7
Because
different
I always
times.
went to thaumaturgy so
Oh,
thaumaturge.
you're so good at words.
Thaumaturge.
I'm gonna
Thaumaturgy.
hit you up with like a quiz later on to be like Abaddon or Abaddon,
Oh,
Ariel or Uriel.
Oh, I cannot wait
Oh,
for
we
that.
gotta. Oh, there'll be
Yes.
somewhere
Perfect.
online.
So many.
There's going to be
Okay.
so. Oh,
I don't have access to the Phil Kelly doc.
We used to have a doc at Games Workshop, and you
Was it
would
called
have
thaumaturge?
No,
Thaumaturgy.
but it was every single Warhammer world pronounced by Phil Kelly. Because-
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen that in White Dwarf. Like, it's
It's not the full one though.
not the full one.
No, because you
yeah,
got
the
you got
full
audio
one.
files with it where you could click it, and
audio
he would
files?
literally say it.
Yeah.
And so like we just used to I used to try and make him say weird sentences.
Can someone please bring the Phil Kelly soundboard in? You need to have one. You need to have one right there in the controls. Just like
Honestly, sometimes when we were bored, we would just go in there and just listen to Phil Kelly just say words.
It's great.
But you've got necromancers.
So I've
You
got
were saying-
necromancers,
sorry.
Thermitage, goodies and baddies. I've got a third warband which I've built, and then I just got a load of sets. And there's Oathmark and Rangers of Shadowdeep, which Rangers of Shadowdeep is slightly bigger in gaming. So it's not like 10 of a warband, it's like slightly bigger.
Oh.
And then you've got Oathmark, which is like Warhammer level war games.
Oh, what, like proper battles?
Yeah, proper battles using it. It's the same author who's done it all. But they're my
Is
two
it in the
warbands.
Frostgrave setting?
I don't know about Rangers of Shadowdeep, and I imagine it's the same universe because it's similar models.
Oh, probably.
So I don't know. I'll have to... Someone in the comments tell me.
I don't know. I'm a Rangers of the Bloodstone guy.
Oh my god,
Nice.
we're not
Game system.
talking about
Nice.
Rangers of the Bloodstone.
What's your wizard warband?
Oh, so me and Rob read the kind of like the wizard, all the things and stuff.
laws.
So Rob, first of all, was like, "Oh, Louise, you've got a wizard. What's his name?" I was like, "Skrimplewald."
Skrimplewald.
phenomenal.
Skrimplewald.
Skrimplewald. And what was the first one? It was the Chronomancer.
Chronomancer, yeah.
And I was like, that's fucking him.
Time Lord.
Like, that is him to a T. Because it was like, yeah, the time guys, and they're like, they usually have really big, weird weapons. And I'm like, he's got a chainsaw. He's just going back in time 1 second to just smack someone with a chainsaw every second of the day.
Amazing.
The Skrimblewald is what he's doing.
So this is why I love hanging out with hobbyists, because right now I'm over here just like percolating ideas, being like, I already have a perfect wizard name ready to go. So like, no,
What's your
this is-
wizard name? Just say it. Say it.
So like back in, so you know the Cats movie?
Yeah.
Like
The good one.
Oh my god, is it Scrimbleshanks?
no, it's not Scrimbleshanks.
The railway cat.
It's like-
I like cats.
So when that movie came out, which by the way, phenomenal movie to
Wait,
watch.
which one? The new one?
The new one,
With
2019.
Taylor Swift,
2019, the movie that caused the pandemic.
Taylor Swift, the cat.
With Taylor Swift the cat.
The sexy cat.
And, oh, it's phenomenal.
I need
That
to
was
watch
one of the
this.
best
Have you
theater
not seen
experiences.
Taylor Swift, the sexy cat?
No, but I'm in now.
Cats 2019 is one of the most fun theatrical experiences I've ever had in my
It's
life.
Just don't
humanity's
get caught up in
first.
this. Don't get caught up in this. It's not.
It's humanity's
Okay.
first
No, you have to,
interaction
you
with the
have- you
war,
have to.
and I feel that in a big way.
There were like four of us. They're all going to kill me for telling this anecdote, but it's legal. There were four of us.
Yeah.
We all had strong edibles. It's legal in Canada. You can't do
You're
anything to
fine.
me.
You're good. You're good. Oh god, that's
And
the
we
worst.
had the best time with that. But shortly thereafter, I was online and I
the
found this.
cockroaches.
The the ones that clip out of the frame
Yes.
because they hadn't finished the visual effects properly with it.
They
So
have sexy human legs for
Yep.
their cockroaches.
yep, or baby faces.
Or baby faces.
What is...
It's
It is the
honestly
most
so
insane
bad.
piece of cinema. But afterwards, I found a generate your cat's username online, and the one that it spat out was Grundlestank.
Grundlestank.
Which is a phenomenal arrangement of syllables. So that if I ever have to do a wizard for Frostgrave...
Yes,
does he have
you should do a cats themed Frostgrave team where it's like, what was your Grundlestank?
Grundlestank.
Stank.
Oh, that's with skank. That's all skank.
Your thugs can be the cockroaches.
Oh, that's so
Oh my
good.
God.
Amazing.
Oh, that's so good.
And then
I think a grundle is the bit between.
Wait, what?
I want to know, does he have dirty wizard sleeves?
Yeah,
What's a grundle?
As I understand it, it's the bit between.
I'll call mine Chode Waddle.
I went with a wine and went Zinfandel the Red.
I've got Chode Waddle.
Oh, that's so good.
For people that don't know Frostgrave, you make a warband of 10. You have a wizard who chooses a spell law, an apprentice, and then 8 other people.
Yeah.
That's how it works.
to 8, yeah.
And then there are 10 different spell laws to choose from your wizard, right?
At least there's more.
At least,
in different books,
and then you go to a destroyed post-apocalyptic frozen like civilization full of magic and stuff. That's
there was
the
a
story.
big sort of wizards sort of metropolis, and then some douchebag blew it up, and then it was a big.
Do we know who? Is that like secret lore?
Probably Grundlewold the Skank.
Probably fucking
Grundlewold the Skank.
Skank.
I forgot his name.
Sluttiest wizard in all of
The skank
Frostgrave.
got added after he blew up the city. Fucking skank.
It could have been a douchebag S.
Fucking
Doesn't
bibbity
have to always be a
bobbity
douchebag.
Jonathan
No,
and
no,
his
you're right.
dickhead
Yeah, you're right.
hands.
Yeah.
Just ruining
A
everything.
douchebagette.
Yeah, it could have been
A
anybody.
douchebagette.
Oh, a douchebagette.
No one wants one of them.
So you painted up one already?
2 warbands. I've got a third on the way.
That's incredibly fast.
I can't help myself.
play.
Can't
I
help myself.
don't understand how you move your hands so fast.
I'm just moving faster.
Just move really quick.
Just get better. Skill issue.
Like literally, it sometimes feels like it's a skill issue.
The biggest skill, Louise, is picking the right undercoat.
Oh, tell us about that.
So a lot of people seem to think that painting could be quite a chore. If you pick the right undercoat, which is the majority of colour of the model, you're kind of sorted.
Right.
And if you pick a colour you have a base paint that matches it. So if you make any mistakes, you can easily correct it.
Sorry, Rob's making a pina colada.
No, it's okay. No one can hear.
It is raining outside.
But yeah, so my necromancers are all black, so I sprayed them black, dry brushed them with a dark grey,
Cool.
picked out all the red bits, picked out all the
Easy
flesh
peasy.
bits, picked out all the silver bits, washed them, done.
Easy peasy. Done.
Grey wizards, they're called
Let me
the
guess.
Grey Conclave.
Grey.
Grey.
Nailed
With an
it.
accent of yellow here and there.
Ooh,
which looks quite
classy.
nice.
It's a bit King in Yellow, that grey and yellow. I like that. You're aware of Robert Chambers' work, The King in Yellow?
No.
Very good. I highly recommend
Oh,
it.
check it
Good
out.
weird fiction.
Extremely good.
Check
weird.
it out.
Oh, you also like the weird fiction as well. That's so good.
So have we got you into Frostgrave then? By the
I
sounds of
mean,
it? With Grindelwald the
you
stick-
probably
the
have. You probably have. I'm gonna have to take a look at it. But what you mentioned there when it came to like painting for like a project completion, that is a skill that has been
Oh, for
hard
sure.
won by me over the past few years. I like to think where now I'm just like, right, don't stress too much about the color scheme, but make sure it's robust enough that, like, especially with Gits, it's like you have to be replicating this over a lot of little guys.
And that's why I kind of picked like Troggoths for my Age of Sigmar army, because I was like, okay, cool. So they're big miniatures, but I only have to paint like 4 of them. It's like people that do Gargants are like having the best time.
I know your opinion on Gargants.
Go on for
I
the.
have none.
No, absolutely not. Sorry, I shouldn't have said anything.
I was looking for a picture of my wizards, I couldn't find it. Sorry.
But I'll put some up on
Yeah.
the video.
Oh, yeah,
I've been doing that for the
Oh yeah,
on the
so,
edits.
so me and Rob have been like doing our OCs, right? So I
an
can't
OC.
remember his name. I'll now call him Bibbidi Bobbidi Jonathan.
Right.
I think that's
The wizard.
The wizard.
Yeah.
So then we got down to like necromancers, and what are the soothsayers? Remind
They're
me
like
what.
fortune tellers. They're
I
like really
like-
sort of. The best way to describe them is like a fortune teller,
Yeah.
but they. I'm trying to remember. I'm still learning all
Yeah,
these
us
different
too, us too.
disciplines, schools.
It's
schools.
like it's fortune telling and like future sight.
Yes,
and
it's a
stuff.
bit of future and a bit of like manipulation. I think that they're
I
good
quite
at
like
doing.
them. And then there was another one that I liked, which was the one that I wanted, like, was it like the treasure hunting ones? I
yeah,
can't
you just
remember.
wanted to make an Egyptologist gang.
I want to make
Yeah,
an
which is great.
Egyptologist gang, where it's like
love
the
that.
main guy, the wizard, is like a proper hardcore like talisman Egyptologist, and then his like guys are like proper like 1920s people that just go around like being Egyptologists, and then he has like a bunch of thugs which are like, see, we're gonna loot that tomb. And like, I just think that's super cool. And then I wanted to do like you have a counter thing. I wanted to do like a counter Frostgrave warband. Is it warband? Is that the correct?
I'd say warband.
I'll say warband, which is like the freaking necromancers, which they find when they unlock the tomb, and it's like this big like Anubis guy with a bunch of mummies and stuff.
See, that's the great thing about the game is like you pick the necromancer, you have a stat line, but you choose what race and what kind of how they look. Right.
I love homebrew.
Yeah,
it's so
and
fun.
you know, I mean, Frostgrave have a range of miniatures from North Star, which are super interchangeable. The pirates, I think it's the Ghost Archipelago. I can't never say the word.
Archipelago.
That's the one. Thank
Archipelago.
you. That one. That's the one. There's a box of like piratey guys.
Correct word, man.
Check it with the word man.
Thank you, word man.
The word man. So it's a box of like piratey guys, but they'll make quite good use for like the Tomb Raider kind of dudes because they've got like linen shirts opened up.
Yeah, for sure. And then like treasure hunting and stuff.
Like Indiana Jones.
Love.
So that'd be perfect.
So Rob, what's your Frostgrave OC Do Not Steal?
I wasn't quite there yet. I did have a little bit of a problem.
I think I was too busy talking at you and then I fell asleep.
That's
so
correct. I did have a little bit of a problem with the book. Just at the start, which I've kind of fed back to Chris. Like we were talking, who's a game designer who works downstairs.
Yeah.
Just because the book I was reading, I only got up to like we just got past the spell laws.
Yeah.
But the first 2 pages is someone who I don't know. I'm sure maybe you're a genius.
Yes.
And then the first 2 pages is this guy is someone else, not the author, being like, the author of this book is a genius.
Maybe it was the author though.
And you're like, well, this is just quite uncomfortable.
What did it like? Can you remember the actual words?
He was like, this is another thing he did that's genius, and another thing that's and I was like,
well,
okay.
good for them for bigging themselves up.
No, it was someone else bigging them up, and I was like, that's great.
Well, good
love
for them
that.
for bigging.
But then the counterpoint is the next section of the Frostgrave book was like, hey, sometimes the rules are just whatever you like. They're just vibes. Just like, don't worry about it, just go. And I'm just kind of like, okay, right? It's a bit like, like if someone was like, Mozart's writing is genius, and you're like, great. It's like, but obviously don't play any of them.
It's
like,
a beer
you don't have to
and
play
pretzels.
all the notes he did. Just do what you like, right? And
play it on 2 times speed. You know, it's the same. Whatever.
I love Nightcore Mozart, honestly. It's my fucking jam.
Nightcore Mozart. Little anime Mozart. Just standing there.
And then the third part was that, by the way, this is the second edition because we didn't quite nail the first edition, and I'm like,
I thought it was a genius.
I love Mozart too, yeah. And I was just like, I could have dealt with maybe none of that and just got straight into.
Do you think it's important for books to say, "Hey guys, remember to have fun"?
No. Because
everyone
I'm like,
gasp closer to the
Panto
mics.
crowd.
That's crazy.
What do you
Isn't
mean?
it?
I think sometimes it's needed because my hobby group I've had over the years, I've had different hobby groups. You always get that one guy that just goes a bit too far.
There's always that one guy,
And
no matter where you're at.
Why are they your friend? Why are they your friend?
They're in your group.
Because I accept all sorts of people, and sometimes people can be neurodivergent in a way that they don't understand how to interact.
I know some of the most neurodivergent wargamers you can ever find.
I will kill you.
Right.
So with Silver Bayonet's a great example, right? I know my British uniforms from the Napoleonic Wars quite well.
You do.
French not so well. Okay. Austrians pretty nailed. If someone comes along with an Austrian army for Silver Bayonet or a warband for Silver Bayonet and it's all wrong and they've got like French guys in there, I don't care because in the book it's like just chill out because the borrowed uniforms maybe they took it off a dead guy.
You mean like if they're slightly divergent from like the source
and meanwhile
material?
there's a Prussian player in the corner sweating, waiting for your examination.
One of the Austrians pull out a paintbrush and it's just all over.
The way it's pitched in that book is like it's made up because it's horror. And they're going to be, because I've done a French officer who's got like the shako with a big hat, and he's a grenadier officer who's got all the red lace, but he's in a suit of armour because he got it from his dad's castle. So I'm just like, well, the rules is you get a breastplate. And I'm like, he's just got a breastplate. That just counts as a breastplate. But I want to do that because it's like, oh, Daddy, can I have your suit of armour, please? He's like, oh, okay then.
Say, oh, Daddy.
It's not going to say anything like that. I just think visually it looks cool. So I can do that. But it's nice that it's got that little preamble in there saying, if you don't know much about it, don't stress it.
Yeah.
Just enjoy
I think
playing
some
the game.
people need that because my main 40k army is a snakebite orc army, which I think like 90% of my weapons in there are proxy weapons. Like I've got squigs, I run them as grots, and I was like, well, they're poison squigs and they eat rocks and they fire it, and that's like the grot pistol. Most people are a-okay with that. In fact, I don't think I ever played against a person that wasn't okay with that. But I think some people, if they did, like, were like, well, actually, no, you need to be like, no, the book says so. The book says that's okay. And maybe that's what they need to accept that.
I understand exactly what you're saying. I just legitimately think if that ever got said to your face,
you'd just be like, Baya.
I feel like you sound like a nerd. Like, I'm so sorry. Because it's like if I'm playing just at the club, and I'm
at
like, the techno club that you're at.
Forget VIP PTI.
Right. And then, it's my if I message my friend and I'm like, "Hey, do you want to play a game?" I already know it's my responsibility that I'm going to have a fun time with that person, which I bring 50% of that energy with.
Oh, so you, when you set up a game, you're like, in the same way as you kind of like say, well, neither of us are going to cheat, neither of us are going to like do this. Your setup is like, neither of us are going to be, we're both going to make this a fun game.
Well, I normally say, hey, do you want to just be a normal human being, right? Who's also a weird little freak about miniatures.
Can we please sign the normal human being contract?
But then also be a weird little freak about miniatures, and also you don't have to be a normal person. You just have to not be a dick.
Just be nice.
I fully get that perspective. The thing is, like, from where I'm at, most of my friends aren't hobbyists at all. Like, I intersect with the local hobby group for whenever I need to game. Like, I'll be on the Discord servers and I'll be like, hey, does anyone want to play me in one of my 3 yearly games at this time? And, usually because of the sheer amount of time between all my games, that person is a stranger. So I'm essentially hoping that, like, there's enough sort of social contract within the club that this person who I'm meeting up to play Warhammer with for a few hours in a basement on like a Wednesday night is going to be someone who's cool. And generally speaking, it has been flawless so far. They've all been great.
I've never played against
I've never had a bad experience. The only bad experiences I've had has been in more organized events, and even then those were years ago.
Interesting.
But I like the idea that there's some official statement from it being like, just remember, it's a game.
I just wonder if that's in tennis or something.
What do you
mean? Hey, you're thinking about playing tennis, don't forget.
Oh no, because tennis. No,
I would love Wimbledon. I'd love Wimbledon to start off being like, let's all just have a good time.
Let's all just have the best time right now.
But that's the problem, because like that's another controversial thing that's been brought up, I think, a lot this week is like, okay, but you wouldn't do it in tennis because that's a serious sport. Right? Warhammer's not... there it is. Warhammer, Robert Symes, George, is not a serious... I really just want to say your bank account number.
We'll do this on another show. I really want to hear about Peachy's
Peachy's
warbands.
Should I be the Patreon exclusive? Oh, no, you were telling us about what your warband would be.
Yeah, we want to know about yours.
Oh, I didn't get there yet. I was still
Have
really...
you got thoughts of like where you might go?
Yeah, come on,
I quite like thaumaturgy because I like saying thaumaturgy.
What is thaumaturgy?
It's just being...
Healers, protectors, they're kind of like the Dumbledore Gandalf kind of like trope.
Oh, the Dumbledore Gandalf.
Yeah, the Dumbledore Gandalf.
The Gandaldors.
There it is.
The Dumbledalf.
Dumbledalf.
Dumbledalf is actually not a bad word.
Dumbledalf.
like if it wasn't immediately recognizable, it would actually...
It ain't no Grimble the Skank.
I ended up calling my necromancers the Crimson Dawn, which is the Maul's stuff from Star Wars. That's his crime. But I also I can't remember if it's Crimson Dawn or Asian Dawn from Die Hard, which is one
Crimson Dawn, I think.
Probably Crimson.
What, from Die Hard? Like, given when those movies were made, like,
you're not sure.
You're not sure.
But it's definitely, but because they're all in red. And it's death. I thought Crimson Dawn.
That sounds
that's a solid.
Well, my most basic bitch take in all of Warhammer, all of fantasy, all of nerddom, is that my favourite kind of thing is just a classic red cloak fire mage.
Yeah.
Like the most boring.
That's great.
And I just love it.
You should be an elemental then.
Well, no, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
So I whenever I do an Empire army or something that's Age of Sigma or human related for Warhammer, I have to have Luther Flamestrike, who is from Dark Omens.
Best game. Best game.
So he's the fire wizard. I have to have him in my army every time because he's awesome.
So how would you build your fire elemental team?
Okay, I'm going to move. I'm going to, as the show host, move. Because it's not what warband is Rob going to play in Frostgrave show. This is weird.
This is my show now.
Hijacked.
What have you been doing this week?
Yeah, what have you been doing?
Oh, hello, everyone.
There we go.
Quite under down.
Taking 40 minutes, by the way. We're still there.
Yeah. This is what we mean by...
Quicker than last week.
So I have been... That's what she said. I have been a very busy woman this week. Shut up, Peach. Shut up, Peach. I have been a very busy woman this week because excitingly, and this is going to be like a couple of weeks delayed, right? Mm-hmm. So, I guess in the future it's going to be like 2 weeks ago, but
because this is episode
556. 5 question mark. I don't know who Mark is, but he has the answers. So this week when we're filming this is the release week for my Pro Acryl signature series.
Yeah. Nice.
That's amazing.
In the UK, it's already been released in America, which is great. But it's the release in, I think, like Europe and the UK, because Element Games and I think Wayland Games are stocking it, and a bunch of other little friendly local stores and sites are stocking it. So I've been trying to make a video for release. I don't think that's going to happen anymore. It may be like a few days delayed, but hopefully Sunday, if I get a chance, I'll do it. And the video is just me being like, I feel a bit, I don't know. I kind of go on a bit of a rant in the video because I really like color mixing and color theory. And I picked those 6 colors specifically because with those 6 colors, you can make 3 entire separate color wheels. Like not just one color wheel. You can make one color wheel, but you actually get 3 color wheels and an extra green paint. Like you can make every single color in the world.
The mysterious, surprising green.
and just because I had to, like, it's me and I wanted a goblin-y green, so I was like, and a green. But you can make the CMY color wheel, which is cyan, magenta, yellow. You can make the RGY color wheel, which is red, blue, yellow, and you can make just an entire color wheel of all the paints together. And I think that's really cool. So in the video, I'm like, hey, this will replace every single paint in your collection because you can make every single paint in the world.
Gasp.
3 times over.
That excellent pitch.
It's a great pitch. So obviously you need black and white. Oh, I wish I had the paper. So what I did is I just picked up like, I think 8 random and also some of my favorite Citadel paints. And I was like, cool, let's just recreate them.
Amazing.
Using these 6 paints. And I did it. And I did it pretty frickin' accurately too.
Nice.
So good. That's
so
great.
It's so fun. Like just getting the paints and doing that as a little challenge, because I think it's really fun to do color mixing. It's like my favorite thing in the world. It's just a fun thing to do anyway. The paints by themselves are almost unreal. Like the camera can't pick them up because they're so saturated and matte. It's like an optical illusion. I'll show you them in a bit.
Oh, please.
It's mental.
I've got a thing for you to try because you obviously like mixing. There's a colour that I still can't replicate. Sheridan Granite.
Oh, it's like everyone's favorite one.
It's green, brown, and grey.
It's black lid era, isn't it?
So it's the white foundation paint.
Oh,
white lid foundation paint. But it would have been in that kind of era.
I feel like maybe I know, because I know a lot of people that's
the hexagonal
their
pots. It was that era when the foundation paints came out.
I remember.
But it is
I
like
love deep painting lore.
Oh, it's so good. But it's such a good
the
colour.
real hits.
It's great for wood. It's great for doing trees because tree bark isn't brown, right? It's like
apparently it's 5 colours.
It's everything.
It's everything. It's like purple and
Sheridan
green.
Granite's like that. I've never been able to replicate the colour.
What's it called?
Sheridan Granite. Or Carradon Granite, some people would say.
Corrodon.
Oh, found
Granite.
it.
No, it's a good point about tree bark. Like my Ogre Maw Tribe's army for AOS is like bog themed. So I spent the longest time trying to find like
bog themed,
the right browns and greens for them.
Nice.
And
that is such a weird
colour. That wood
colour.
still doesn't quite look right.
What inspired you to do ogres?
There you go.
They were just cool.
Okay.
It was just low model count.
That's what
Those
I thought.
Beastclaw
They're
Raiders.
white
I wanted
ones.
to paint up monsters. I love painting monsters, so I just wanted like a low model count army that had like giant creatures. So that's
My favorite. I have a favorite YouTuber who does an entire bit about ogres for 20 minutes.
Who?
The Lumpen.
Dawnster.
As in Dawnster, yes.
Like Dawnstar,
There's a 20-minute
but
piece
stir.
about the satire built into the ogres.
You would
wonderful.
love
I
this
will
YouTuber.
100% check that out.
Yeah, 100%
We love
brilliant. The
Dawnster.
Lumpen, and it's an ironic take on Pon. It's really good. Really
Also,
good.
Rob's favorite is also Chaos Dwarves, and he lit up when you said you like Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah.
Chaos
So
Dwarf
true.
Army for Old World.
So true. So you've been doing the
sorry.
videos.
Yeah. So, I did a lot of paint mixing. I kind of like, I don't know what the title for the video should be, because I don't want to be like, this paint range will replace every single other paint in your collection plus black and white. But I just think I'm gonna like just be like, cool, it's the new Pro Acryl set, because the reception these paints have had has been massive.
It's actually hilarious that we're talking about this on a podcast and she's making a video about it, because as I understand it, they're all universally, worldwide, sold out.
Okay, well, I might be...
We love demand.
Am I doing a curse?
That's a good sign.
universally worldwide sold out. And then she's going to be like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but these paints are brilliant. You can't get them. Fucking sucks.
Yeah. You can take the girl out of Games Workshop.
Great time with these.
Yeah, well, I'm hoping that's not going to be the case. There's still...
You know from the actual producer it's the case.
Well, they've run out of dark turquoise, the pigment.
Yeah, they got...
You can slap a disclaimer over this whole sequence.
They have to wait for the flowers to grow to build more. They're like, well, it's not happening.
It's been very good. So they sold out, I think, in America, which is cool. They are currently, I think, restocking 2 paints, which have entirely, gone. They just need to remake the paint. I think Wayland Games has sold out. I think Element is still going strong, though. So, yay. Yeah. So I'm heading into Element Games tomorrow, which is the 17th, 16th, something like that. Just in case people go into Element Games on Friday when this is released and they're like, oh.
In the past.
Wow,
In the
yourself.
past.
In the past.
But in the past.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go in there and we're going to do a little launch party as
Nice.
well.
Yay.
Which will be
Will they
really
be cake?
Only if I bring it. I said I'd bring snacks.
It's an incredibly small store.
Not legally called a party then if there's no cake.
No.
I did say that I wanted M&Ms and for them to take
But
out
you did
all
ask
the red
if you wanted a
ones.
rider, which I thought was very sweet.
I wanted a what?
A rider.
A rider?
Yeah.
What's a rider?
Wow.
I've just been calling you Rob.
I'm a rider.
But, you know.
I ride motorcycles.
Okay, I'm going to move on. Have you done any...
You can't leave me at this point.
What is a rider?
When a band plays or an artist turns up, someone they're like Mariah Carey would be like, I want 3 kittens and a
swan.
Do you mean
to eat the
you mean
kittens.
a runner?
No, a runner is someone who gets stuff.
What's the? You get kittens?
A rider is just like a list of wants.
Yeah.
It's just like I
what
need
is it?
some
Is that the
Cadbury's.
name
I need
of
some
the
Cadbury's
list?
Dairy
That's
Milk.
the name
So
of the
you
list.
give
It's
a
name of the
rider
list.
to a
Yeah.
runner.
No,
This is getting silly.
You give your rider to a runner.
This is now getting silly Billy energy.
I'm also amazed that your love of bands and everything I know about you don't know what a rider is.
Yeah, maybe they just don't want fucking kittens.
There are other things people want.
Yeah.
So I could have had just whatever.
You could. They were like, "Do you want a rider?" And you could have been like, "Yeah, I'd like, I don't know, 3 bottles of Pepsi or something."
Peppy Max.
Peppy Max.
That'd be quite nice.
I mean, it's a pretty crap rider. Because artists have incredibly famous riders. Someone famously only wants yellow M&Ms or something.
Oh, is that what that is?
Yeah.
Oh, I could have been a dickhead. Damn it, I missed the opportunity.
What is the rider of choice for both of you now?
Oh,
Yorkshire
okay.
tea.
Nice.
Oh, mine.
That's it. That's all I've got.
Probably some form of hummus, chilled hummus.
Chilled.
A chilled hummus. Hummus. I don't actually know. I don't think I have any, just be kind. Because
Just be kind.
is that right?
You're showing up to play the Royal Albert Hall, and your rider is simply just like, "Can you just please be nice to me?"
Is that bad? Is that good?
It's
That is
adorable.
cute.
It's adorable.
What would your one be? What's your rider?
To never listen to you talk about riders again. That would be
What's yours?
It would depend on where in the world I am.
Okay, you're playing in the Opera House in Sydney.
Just a koala, just to experience one.
Oh, and the koala experience is a
just
great
want to see one
one.
up close and be like, yeah, you are as slow and weird as you.
I'm changing mine to also koala experience.
No, if it was Australia, I just asked for Tim Tams. I think.
Tim
Oh,
Tams,
so
yeah.
you can do
Tim
what is it called when you is it slamming? Have you ever slammed a Tim Tam?
That verb means something
Have you
completely
ever
different.
slammed a Tim Tam?
I have not.
So,
I have not.
It's when you bite both ends off the biscuit and then you suck up like a cold, hot drink with the biscuit, and then the biscuit gets all melty on the inside, and that's called slamming.
That's called a
obviously
straw.
still sounds like an innuendo even then.
Yeah.
Like, all of it.
Slamming a Tim Tam.
Slamming a Tim
Slamming a
Tam.
Tim
Slamming
Tam.
a
Talking about slamming a Tim Tam, what have you been doing recently?
You're not slamming Tim Tams. I've been on holiday.
Yeah, that's why you're here.
Yeah, no, that's why I'm here. Funnily enough, no, I actually just got off the plane a few hours ago. Just it's flying visit. No, I'm
No,
kidding.
I was about to say, God, please no.
No, what I've been doing. The last video I did was actually real fun. I did it on the invasion of Bode, which was a World Eaters recruitment fife in the Horus Heresy.
That's so cool.
A remnant force from the Iron Hands fleeing Istvan V after a few years were just like, right, we're having you. And their Iron Father, Autek Mor, destabilized the moon in orbit around the planet and just fired a moon-sized bullet. And then, as it was falling, invaded to grab some like archaeotech or something like that.
That's such a cool story.
It's so much fun because it is truly just like I am dropping a moon on you guys.
It's like Legend of Zelda when the moon's like coming in.
Yeah, exactly. I also got to make the first joke thumbnail I've ever made because my thumbnail is always very serious.
It's always the white text. Like yours are very recognizable because it's always like the background.
Thank God you
with
said
like,
that.
Yeah, they are. I think they are. I always recognize when it's a you one because it's just like whatever it is in the background and then just big white text that says exactly what it is.
Yeah, but that betrays my lack of skill with the platform that I'm working on, in that I have to think that the title also has to be that legible when it's like I look at thumbnails on YouTube and I'm like, there's no actual words on this. Why do I keep doing it? I actually got to make my first joke thumbnail because I don't know if you've ever seen it, but Autek Mor, who was like the Iron Father, had this like meme image of him going around where it's just his face faded into a moon. So I took the art from Bode, which has the moon falling, and I just faded his face into the background of it, which is it's just fun. It's fun to do that every now and again.
But it's so wild how much Warhammer lore there is.
Yes.
Like that's what blows my mind. It's like the amount that there is, it's like actual history.
Yeah, no, fully. Like my husband, hi honey, shout out to you. He routinely expresses his utter like astonishment at just the fact that like I've done 162 videos now,
really?
And I am not anywhere even close to running out.
How long have you had your channel for?
Ooh, it's 2024 now, so going on 7 years.
Wow.
What made you get into what was it initially that like sparked your love of Warhammer lore?
Warhammer lore. It's a history that is just, it doesn't exist, but it's history still.
And it's super cool. It's so cool.
The very first thing that I ever got into, a friend of mine gave me a White Dwarf back in like 2001, and it was the White Dwarf that had Index Astartes Night Lords written by Phil Kelly, which at the time, as someone who was like loved Star Trek, loved Star Wars, loved all sorts of fantasy and sci-fi.
Good choices.
Yeah, Rob's
all the classics.
Rob's into this.
This was the grimmest, darkest, most violent thing that I had ever read because it's about the Night Lords.
Yeah, so it's like, murder. It's Batman Murder Town.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And like it was just like that just awakened it for me. It was just like,
awakened something in you.
this is cool as hell.
So was it the word? Was it the art? Like because I think I've said this a lot. I think one of the things that carries Warhammer so much is the art is so evocative. Yeah. Like, that's what I really love.
Cool.
That article had a bunch of art which I think they got. It was either Alex Boyd or Carl Kopinski to do art pieces for that. At
Carl
the time.
is so spooky.
Yes, and it's that black and white, just incredibly evocative pieces, and that like complete that plus the text, just like. That was done. That was it for me after that point. And here I am.
My introduction into Warhammer was also through the lore, like completely. Like the miniatures came second. My introduction to it was, do you want to hear this freaking kick-ass story?
Yeah.
Like, oh, you like Paradise Lost. You like spooky stuff. Do you want to just hear the coolest story ever?
Exactly.
And it was the story of the Horus Heresy. And I remember someone it was at my friend's house in summer and they were painting Warhammer. I wasn't into it. And they just explained like the entire, and it took about 8 hours. Like we went out for dinner still talking about it, came back, like it was like an entire day of just talking, and I was like, this is the coolest thing and I'm like, and then what happened? The sanguineous guy, he makes it right, he's gonna be okay, right? Like Ferris Man, love
where
that
is
guy.
my prettiest boy?
This sounds like Louise watching Battlestar Galactica.
But like that's what got me into it, and I love it, and lore tube. Lubers United.
There's that word.
What's the like? Have you found that like your videos of like? There's been lots of comments being like, "Oh, this is the first time I've engaged with this like with Warhammer." And
my favorite comments to get are the ones where I'm just like, I bought I like got into painting because of this, or I put you on while I'm painting.
Oh, so that's what I do. Yeah.
Nothing more gratifying than getting the comments being just like, I just painted up a whole army listening to this series.
Oh, well, there you go. Head over to his comment section now and make
Am I right in
his
thinking
day.
you said you've done military history for your...
So my academic background, like what I studied in college, was history. So I did a BA and an MA.
What kind of history? What's your favorite kind of like bit?
What's your favorite history?
What's your favorite bit that happened?
I don't know if I could even narrow it down to one. It's like it's roved all over the place as a grown up. Like obviously,
are you a classical? Are you medieval? Like what's your
more early? Like it depended. When I was a teenager, it was all about the medieval stuff because that's close to fantasy. That's close to Lord of the Rings.
It is a bit dragons and
as
shit,
I got into my 20s, it was like, okay, the early modern period is fascinating. And then like you also get those bits when you're like, you're a teenager and you're a teenage cis white man. So obviously you're going to enjoy military history at some point. And then as I've gotten even older than that, it's now like sociological history has been far more fascinating. So like it gets sparked.
Would you say that's like giving you a lot of sort of good standing to do lore videos? Because I always find it fascinating with like lubers, lorbers. That's what we're going with now.
I went with Lubers United.
Lubers United.
It does.
Find all the facts. That's what I find really...
You have to write an essay as well. Like that's because like when Wade did Lore Masters, he was like, I'm just like doing my, because I think he did history. And he was just like, it's like just doing history at university again. I'm just writing a historical essay every single week.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
like,
it's basically what it is. Like you find the sources, you like, if you need to, you check them against some other stuff. You talk to your colleagues about like, hey, by the way, do you know? It's like, do you know anything about this particular thing? It's like, oh, I seem to recall that there was this and that. And then, you build it all together.
I think that's really important.
And then you add, but the best part about it is that I get to add like personal flair with it.
You do the cool voice. You do the spooky voice.
The in-character perspective, like that,
I love it.
offers a set of restraints creatively because I can't like, you have to be able to stretch the credulity of what the character can potentially know despite however much access you get. But at the same time, like, you get to contextualize stuff.
So have you, because I don't think I've watched a lot of your earlier videos.
Please don't.
I want to.
God, don't.
So like, was that always a thing, or did that develop?
It was
like
funny,
the voice acting?
It started off a little bit like kind of hinting that this is what it was. And then I was just like, don't worry, I'm not going to make the character much of a thing. And then people engaged with it so much that now I have like audio dramas I did.
So you worked with text to speech, didn't you?
Yes.
A little bit.
Yes.
How was that? Because like, I think it still has just a massive fan. Like, I didn't know how big a deal. If you don't know, I'm talking about if the Emperor had a text-to-speech device as its full name, aka TTS, aka text-to-speech, which was a massive, massive fan animation that was just huge. Like, I didn't know how big it was. It's got like an extensive fan wiki. It had been going on for how many years? Like 10 years?
You could think around, like, I started watching it in 2012.
Yeah, literally. Like, it's huge. And you did some voice acting for that, didn't you?
I did some voice acting for that.
Yeah, tell us about that, because everyone will be
along.
really excited to hear that if they don't know.
It was so much fun. It was like the day that Alpha Busa and I connected on DMs, like to just chat through Twitter, was just an insane fanboy moment for me, because just like, I've been watching this guy's videos for 10 years and now he's talking to me. And then like I was acting on it, and then I was helping with the scripts. Like,
so did you?
Towards the end.
That's
so
amazing.
You didn't play yourself as, because that was my next question. I have so many questions for you. So your voice acting on your videos, is that a character you've developed?
Yes.
Tell me about that character.
That character initially was a chronicler working in the aftermath of the heresy, and then I subtly, and I don't think anyone noticed, shifted him to just exist in like the modern 40K
You changed
setting.
the lore. Illegal.
Oculus retcon.
Whoa.
I know, it's terrible. Oculus doesn't exist in the heresy anymore because of the woke.
You do exist in the in Total War, though.
Oh my gosh, yes. Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, do
you
you not
don't
know this?
No.
Tell them the story. Tell them the story. This is incredible.
A friend of mine on Longfang sent me a picture from a screenshot from his current Total War 3 Warhammer Total War 3, whatever the arrangement of it is.
Yeah.
He sent me a picture of a screenshot he'd taken from a campaign that he's doing, where he encountered a Tzeentch demonic herald in charge of an army, and the Tzeentch demonic herald was called Oculus, Keeper of Lores.
Right.
And I lost my goddamn mind.
That's like goals.
Because you were like, Tzeentch, gross.
I was thinking that it's phenomenally rude. Zinch is actually my favorite chaos god. So like, but I was thinking it was phenomenally rude that like they would call an Irishman a pink horror. That's just like, I know I sunburn,
really
but
it's rough.
I know
That's rough.
You know,
So,
it's real though. It's real.
Zinch is also my favorite chaos god, and I wonder if it's for the same reason. So one, I've been like dipping my toes into lore videos because I love Warhammer lore. I quite like making video essays because like lore YouTube, lube, sorry, is like the biggest kind of like Warhammer.
With that,
I'm just going with it. It's like the biggest thing I interact with in Warhammer YouTube. It's not painting, it's lore. So I'm really interested in doing my own, and I want to do one on like weird fiction and Lovecraftian influences in Warhammer. And for me, when I got into Warhammer, I was quite young. I had read the entire Lovecraft, obviously terrible human, died because he ate. Not a red flag. He died because he ate beans for 15 years. He got his comeuppance.
What?
Yeah, he was like hella malnourished.
Eating beans is bad?
Oh no, Peach. Oh God.
That's why we look this colour, Peach. But the lights can't help us. We're bean coloured.
I could put some vitamin D next door. I'll give you it. But yeah, I love Lovecraftian fiction. I love Lovecraftian horror, and Zinch just did it for me.
Yeah,
like
100%.
Absolutely. That was why I latched onto that, because like I had just finished reading stuff like The Color Out of Space and stuff, and I was like, cool, literally Zinch. Like I love finding those little bits in. I think the first interaction, I can't remember. You'll know, you're in lore. I think one of the first demons that they find coming through a ship. It's in one of the early Horus Heresy ones. Are Zinch demons, and the descriptions are just so Lovecraftian.
Yeah, the first demon in the prose series is encountered when a Remembrancer accidentally summons one.
That's it.
In the middle of like the archives on the Vengeful Spirit.
It was in the archives. Yeah. And I think they like hint at like the blue scribes and stuff. Yes, I loved it, and I was just like so hooked on that. So a video essay I want to do is just exploring like
cosmic horror,
and even things like I have no mouth but I must scream, like the Am version of like that was probably what the end result of AI was going to be, where because it's so grimdark. I'm sorry, it's fun, but it's so grimdark. Like the end of I have no mouth but I must scream is the most grimdark version of humanity. If you don't know, Am is this like AI machine who is the most evil character in all of fiction. I'm pretty certain, because he keeps 5 humans, the last 5 humans in the entire world, alive just to torture them for the rest of forever.
Oh, amazing!
And the good end in that book is like hopefully they die soon.
It's
like,
it's so mad.
It's so mad.
It's so
but
metal.
like I think like that's quite Warhammery. Like if like AI won, that's probably where it would have fucking gone, right?
Well, it's funny you mentioned Zinch and like where you come across them. For me, the Zinch was when the Hordes of Chaos 6th edition Warhammer Fantasy book was being released. All the White Dwarves were just amazing at that time, because they did one god for each month. And the Zinch one had again that Carl Kopinski, Alex Boyd, Adrian
Zinch art
Smith
is also amazing.
level art, and the Juan Diaz horror sculpts from which I don't know if you know them.
The ones bursting out
of each other. The
my
ones morphing.
favorite. That's
just,
like my one miniature that if they could like bring back or like redo, because like if you've not seen them, it's the horrors and they're like ripping themselves open and like more are coming out.
As a Slaanesh player,
Incredible.
Juan Diaz's demonettes are the sexiest demonettes.
Just tea cakes on a woman.
Why do they retire these, I wonder?
They've got quite. I think they usually have like a set of 6, don't they?
Don't you add nipples onto all your miniatures?
I do.
You do.
I do.
He Juan Diaz's all of his
for
miniatures.
a time in marketing Nipplegate.
There is that's a thumbnail. That's a thumbnail. You can just be like add nipples and pointing towards something that's blurred out.
I add nipples
Space
to
Marine.
every miniature in Warhammer.
Didn't they say you had to stop adding
4
nipples?
exclamation
They did. I got told off.
So
I got told off for painting nipples on my cold.
He got told off for nipples.
I mean, sometimes when I was doing the paint guides, we did an Untamed Beast character, Heart Render, I think he is, and I was just licking my brush. First one, I'm just going to start with a nipple, just running it around his nipple, just like for a couple of minutes. We kept that in just for that.
I painted that warband thanks to that video.
Yay! Oh, you did the thing that you said you like with Peachy.
I am starstruck. Thunderstruck sitting at this table. Come on.
So cute. Well,
What's your favorite video you've personally made?
Good question.
Good. The one that I'm most proud of is probably a video I did called like The Nightmare Truth of the Imperium, which was a title that I hoped would be catchy.
That sounds like a hitter.
It's essentially an hour and a half long video about how the Imperium is a fascist authoritarian regime.
How did you do that?
This is how I know. Gas.
How did you do that in character? Did you do it in character?
I did, but I did it as like this is the private musings of a character who's being driven insane by the fact that he has to serve in this system. Which
I love that you're lore building on top of your that's really cool.
Yeah, like there was a little bit of like I have no mouth and I must scream at the end of it, where like Oculus is just like I hate everything that I do for this regime.
I have no mouth and I must scream.
Exactly.
Oh, that's good. Oh, shivers.
Because the Imperium, like I talked about this before, the Imperium is like, or even any of the games which I'm writing is completely devoid of the concept of humanity.
Yes.
And I don't mean that in a compliment to the writing. I mean that as a derogatory statement. They're like, it's always war, and you're like, okay, cool, but you understand humans quite like having a nice time.
Yeah.
Like there's just an
no
inherent
one's enjoying
element.
this.
Like so, they're always like, no, there can only be war. Like no one will fall in love. I'm like, well then how are babies made?
Yeah.
Like
On the baby planet.
There's like, do you struggle with that? Is that have you there authors that have tackled that? Or?
So who bakes the bread? Is that what you're basically saying?
The bee planet that makes all the seals. Tell me about the bee planet.
We know about real war having PTSD.
Yeah,
like the slow grind. If you are a big history nerd, you'll know that there's so many examples of like leaders being like, we just have to stop the war because the populace is falling to pieces. Yep. There has to be a point where it stops.
Yeah.
Like, because that's not human being. So
there's been a lot that's informed that for me, and especially in that video. I worked with a very good friend.
The nightmare one that you were. Yes.
I worked with a very good friend of mine who works in. He was an academic, and he hit me up with Hannah Arendt. If you haven't ever read it, it's just the seminal work on like fascism and how it functions. So I got to analyze the Imperium essentially through the lens of like historiography about fascism and authoritarianism in the 20th century.
And then you put a silly voice on it.
And then I put a silly old man voice on it, and like talked about it, tied it into connections like how the emperor functioned in the Great Crusade versus how the state functions now, and all of this stuff. And it was fascinating, deeply creatively fulfilling to do. But when you bring up like have authors tackled it, who has done this, there has been in the past few years just incredible good work in the Black Library, talking like Dan Abnett broke it all open with Eisenhorn and like how the Imperium functions away from the battlefield. There's still horrible stuff going on, but like,
someone has to make bread.
Someone has to make bread. Someone has to show up, and
people have kids. Yeah, those kids like to play.
And then Chris Raitt has fairly recently with the Vaults of Terra series and like the Emperor's Legion has taken that to a whole new level where he's been like, well, okay, if everything is made on vellum, why and how? And it's like, well, because the cows are just these bloated genetic monstrosities that are farmed only. Like, no one in the Imperium has seen a cow, but like they still get protein, nutritious gruel every now and again.
Dogs were a really like controversial point.
Yes.
Up until they started making miniatures of them, I remember people being like, "There's not dogs. Like they're just like there's no cuteness. There's no like niceness because then there would be puppies and that's not allowed and stuff." But
and Chris Raitt gets down into what I would consider to be the nitty gritty of how the Imperium can kind of function while still being at least a believable sort of like nightmare dystopia. And he's been a huge influence on like how I've been like approaching stuff as well.
That's super interesting.
And then obviously at the top of all of this is Alan Bly, who like his
OG,
writing
the best.
If my channel would not exist without his writing. Simply put, I got the idea for it reading the Horus Heresy Black books from Forge World because they were
we love and stan Alan on this channel forever and ever.
Super
Alan a fan.
So I was gonna ask you, and I think this is like it's my favorite. Like it's such a pleb question, but it's my favorite one because
Who's your favorite chapter?
It's literally stuff. So did Magnus do anything wrong? No, don't worry. But also let us know in the comment section if Magnus did.
Magnus did a lot of extremely wrong things.
I don't think he did anything wrong. I found him in a bin.
Callback.
Nice.
But my favorite, one of my favorite things about Warhammer, and one of my favorite things about like horror fiction and sci-fi fiction in general, is the fear of the unknown kind of like element. And I think Warhammer's great for that. What's your favorite Warhammer mystery? What's your? Yeah, I know, right?
I love that question because the question is truly that the best Warhammer mysteries are ones that simply aren't going to get resolved because they are more fun as mysteries.
But what's your favorite one?
Oh, it might have something to do with the Alpha Legion. My favorite one is the origins of Alfarius.
Go on.
And precisely how that came about.
What do you mean?
So Alfarius, like, he was supposedly the last Primarch found, and that has recently been updated in a book by Mike Brooks.
Oh, really?
About Alfarius, where he was actually the first one found. He might have just crashed on the moon. But Alfarius apparently wrote this book, and he started the book by saying that everything in it is a lie.
I remember this. So that's so messy.
It is just like... My favorite mystery is the Alpha Legion, because the Alpha Legion, I find, is a phenomenal litmus test for how you are with Warhammer lore, where... I will see so many people online be complaining about like the Alpha Legion just a meme at this point. Like there's no concrete answers about them whatsoever. It's so boring. It's so dull. It's like, actually, no, it's fascinating.
It's a pleb filter.
Well, it's just like, it filters out, are you okay with mystery? Can you engage with the fun of mystery? And to a lesser extent, as like a lore person, are you okay with sources contradicting each other?
There's so many
Because
unreliable narrators.
Yes.
Like unreliable narrators are a huge part of Warhammer, like writing, like a massive part. And it is like a filter for. Have you read a lot of sci-fi books where literally the person writing it is going insane, or is a robot, or has existed for 1,000 years and has no more connection with humanity or anything like that? Huge amounts of Warhammer are written like that.
Would Alfarius have founded the Inquisition then? Because that's their tagline, isn't it? Everything you've been told is a lie.
I've seen the theory that like Alfarius, or rather Omegon, because Alfarius confirmed, as far as there's been confirmed, like Alfarius died at Pluto in the heresy, but Omegon survived, or did he?
Spoilers.
Spoilers, all of that stuff. I've seen the Alfarius Inquisitor theory.
Yeah.
For me, the
I've never seen that.
Inquisition works so much better if as a like expression of the end state of a totalitarian police force. It's regular people like keeping the masses down. It's so much more compelling to me. If, like,
is there like a continuous like almost Gestalt like conversation like online? Like I'm sure there are like not think tanks, but lots of people posting. And then, someone comes up with an idea that's just a throwaway idea. Then everyone jumps on it, and it becomes like a current.
What do you mean, like an idea?
Like a trend, like a hot take that's a trend that's kind of like.
I'm trying to think of a recent one.
Most threads on 40k lore discussions on Reddit are people complaining about memed ideas in like 40k lore, where
Apparently,
the idea has been the meme has been repeated so many times it ends up enshrining itself into lore. And it's for me, it's just like people make jokes. People connect with things through jokes. People connect with Warhammer through jokes because it's hilarious and it's fun. And it's truly just like, we all know what the real lore is. Most of us, and then those of us who just like are dipping our toes in, it's just like just have fun with it.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it.
Yeah.
I do have, maybe this is a useful background thing for you. I know you like some behind the scenes, but I know I was in Las Vegas.
We'll get into that into the Patreon only.
I was in Las Vegas with the marketing team once, so it was very small, and we met with the people who run Lexicanum. So whoever run it, I don't know who runs it, some people. And we were having a meeting with them specifically, and I don't think anyone, I've never said this online before. We were having a meeting with them specifically because they were like, hey, can we have an official partnership? Because most of our background writers use Lexicanum, but anyone can update Lexicanum. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because at that point...
like anyone can just rock in and say whatever they want.
So at that point...
Workshop uses Lexicanum.
Wow.
This is 100% true.
Oh, okay, perfect. So you knew this.
Yeah.
Well, I know that authors working in collaborative fiction environments, like they use wikis all the time.
Yeah.
So you do get like wiki drift, essentially.
It's because at that point, Tim Malloy and like the archivists, because that didn't exist.
Yeah.
So like there was no one in the
Tim. We love
Shout out to Tim. Well done. There was no one in the company who was like, like, you had the Phil Kelly document.
Yeah.
That would have been post.
Oh yeah,
Yes,
that was made 2
Yeah.
years ago. Yeah,
Exactly. So up until that, like most of the kind of like construct of where all this information is, because Games Workshop doesn't really invest in that stuff or didn't, was effectively fan made. And so one of the really interesting tidbits is that like if it was on Lexic Carnum, it then got put in, like someone was like, that is the background.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wrote that into the next book.
Lol.
And so if someone had even just copy and pasted something wrong or like been like, put their impression over the past, like between the 80s and when,
they were like, cool, like that's definitely correct.
Yeah. So there's definitely this like almost like fan gestalt generation of the lore.
Fangestalt.
Up until thank you. Up until
Good wizard name.
That's a big word.
That was just a big word.
That's a big word.
So that was but you already knew this.
I'm aware of it only because like I've seen the discussions about it on. I find it absolutely fascinating and
blows my mind.
Yeah, it
really,
doesn't seem
really
real.
compelling. Just to be like you're an author working for like a licensed media property and you're adding to it. You're a fan yourself or you're not, and you have like everyone has certain levels of skill when it comes to remembering what is essentially fake information.
Yeah, literally.
The reams of brain matter I have dedicated to things that
It's a
simply
lot.
don't exist.
In my
It's
head right
insane
now,
to me.
Dave Filoni and John Favreau are just using Wikipedia to write their next
Almost certainly.
TV show.
Yeah, props.
Almost certainly.
Yeah.
Because that's the
So
same kind of like...
They will have like, because like on film sets, right, you have someone whose entire job it is to maintain, if you ever seen the Lord of the Rings background, like behind the scenes, there's someone whose job it is to just be like, in the last scene, you had a hair on this side.
Yes, yeah.
So
Continuity.
continuity people. But like Games Workshop definitely didn't have that. Like they probably do now, but for a long time, they didn't. And that's
for
hilarious.
the longest time as well, like Marvel Comics would have the same thing. There was no official thing, and you'd have to rely on the company's archive to be able to go and get the issue or something that you'd need. But there was always just like one guy in the office who'd been around for like 2 decades and just knew everything. He had that lore brain, so that you'd be able to just be like, "Hey, how do Daredevil's powers work?" And you'd be able to check. And then you get situations where like that isn't around, and Wikipedia, like especially in the past, like Wikipedia isn't always around. So you'd get situations like, I'm betraying the other side of my nerddom here, where, do you guys know the X-Men character Psylocke? By any chance?
I'm not big into comic books.
Psylocke was a British woman telepath, and she joined the X-Men, and then there was this thing where like she went through a magic portal, blah, blah, blah.
In
and then she
Apocalypse,
became,
isn't she?
then she became a like sexy Asian ninja chick.
Yeah.
And it was just
Heck
like, she
yeah.
got surgically altered by like the organization somewhere to become like a sexy Asian chick.
Cool.
And because it was the 90s. And then later on in the 90s, it got actually like, oh no, she had a body double. And her personality was actually split between 2 people. So it's actually the mind of a British woman in an Asian body, which is so problematic in so many ways. But again, it was the 1990s.
Why would that be a character feature, which is all right? That seems not.
1992, and that whole thing emerged because the author of the Body Swamp thing, hadn't read the issues properly and had thought that like, oh, this is the thing that can happen. This is an iteration on that, and that's because like this is you didn't have Wikipedia.
So a situation like that happened recently with Star Wars, which reminded me. I was talking to, I think it was people from the 50 First.
Yeah.
I think one of them was like, Star Wars used us as a reference image because apparently I can't remember which character or what thing it was, but they had like this bit of like heraldry or weathering that didn't really exist that they'd added to it, and it appeared in one of the Star Wars shows. So they'd obviously Googled like Star Wars, like these guys found a very professional looking image and went, that's our reference image.
So Clone Troopers, they use the reenactors to make the Clone Trooper outfits for Ahsoka, because up to that point,
Had the master molds been lost or something?
No, because the originals are all
just
digital.
a good workforce.
They're all digital, of course.
They're all digital, so their heads wouldn't realistically fit in those helmets.
Because those troopers from episode 2, like they were all
every single person
and
was
the
digital.
armor changed by episode 3.
So by the time it came to doing live action, because none of them before that were live action, it was either animated or digitally made. So they had to actually physically make the outfits and how to do it, so they reached out to the reenactors who do it. But there was so much kickback on one of because Rex.
It's a big like fandom with a lot of like very serious.
There's Russians in the Star Wars fandom.
Oh,
I
would
never
have noticed this, but Rex's bicep armor apparently wears it upside down.
Oh, that might have been it.
That's cool. I love that.
And everyone's like, "Oh my god, you can't even get the costumes right." It's upside. I was like, "No one would notice that."
This right here is why people shouldn't take
those guys
canon seriously.
Oh well, that's another. That's another.
I take that offense to that because I found out my favorite piece of Star Wars canon this week. Is that Boss Nass?
Oh my god!
Is voiced by who's my favorite character in all sci-fi?
Is he also
voiced by Brian Blessed?
I learned that this week too.
Did you know this?
I had no idea.
It's alive. He's gonna like this. Same person.
Reading the interview was the absolute best part because Brian was talking about just like, well, George came along and he was telling me I was going to play a Jedi character called Bibbles or something like that. And like he actually, it's theorized that he actually means like Sio Bibble, who is like a very calm and collected Naboo counselor.
Absolutely not.
And then now he's just this like just frog
shrieking
king.
frog.
Yeah, and there's this amazing anecdote where like he says, and then George said to me, just do something. And I went, me's are like this. And then apparently George Lucas, and this is apparently true, said, Brian, you mad bastard, I love it. And I'm just like, why are these people paid money?
Brian Blessed, by the way, famously a man who never exaggerates.
Yeah, never.
Can I just say, why does Boss Nass look different from the rest of the Gungans?
I want you to know, Peachy, and I've said this many times, Boss Nass is my favorite, my favorite character, maybe in like, and hopefully you can kind of see the merit of this. My favorite character in all of sci-fi and popular culture.
Why would you say that statement?
It's amazing. I love it.
Because that's the Star Wars that came out. So Episode 1 was, waited 30, 35 years for the Star Wars franchise to be reignited. Infinite money. Infinite time.
Yep.
Any creative in the world, at that point,
anything you can get.
35, 40-year-old
the best
creatives grew up with Star Wars, right?
Yeah.
Anyone on Earth, right? And the very best that they could do is Brian Blessed being pretty racist.
As a big frog.
As a big frog. Like, that's the best they could do.
It's honestly pretty good.
They were like every creative on Earth, with infinite money, and they were like, the best we can do is...
I love that.
Gungans.
The counterpoint to that is that one of the favorite books I was ever...
He's crying.
He just can't get over the big frog. Big frog.
That's the racism side. No.
Brian Blessed in that interview as well was like, at first I thought it was like pidgin Jamaican, but then I realised it was a deep and law-based video.
I love the way that Brian Blessed doesn't even know what patois is. Like, pidgin Jamaican? Like, what decade is this?
I thought a yard meant garden. I just...
But the counterpoint to that is that one of my favorite books I ever got as a teenager was The Art of Star Wars Episode 1, which was just the concept art for it.
Love
and
those.
like Doug Chiang's spaceship designs and everything, like I just poured over that. Poured over it.
I
It
love
was
art
insane.
books.
But then you also get like, and also the character designers are over here making a big frog.
I mean, you
Big
can just
Frog.
play the bit where Darth Maul, when the music plays and the lightsabers come out. I mean, you can
Seamless.
forgive
So cool.
every other element of
So-
that.
Best soundtrack ever.
On
Duel of Fates.
Netflix, it turns out, is it episode 3, Darth Maul and stuff? Which one's
Episode 1.
Episode 1 is Darth Maul.
It's the most popular one on Netflix.
It is the most popular. It's the most streamed one.
Out of all of the Star Wars movies, it's the one that everyone's like, oh, that one's shit. I love it.
Pod racing.
I watched it when
Pod
I was,
racing, yeah.
what was
You know
it?
what
I
it
must have
actually-
been like 10?
You know why it works so well? Because it works completely perfectly as a standalone movie.
Yeah, I watched, I had
it
never
has
seen any other
no-
Star Wars,
like, you
and I
can
loved it.
You could start Star Wars at episode 2 and go on, and you would have the same experience, technically speaking, as if you'd watched episode 1. There's so few connections with it outwards
don't
from
need
it.
it.
And it's just a good adventure movie.
Yeah,
It's just fun.
It's my pleb filter.
Yeah.
If someone's like, I don't like it, I'm like, you're unable to experience things
You are
ironically.
not
Or,
fun.
well,
Like,
not
you
even
can't-
ironically, you're unable to experience joy. It's just like who can't look at that and just be like, that's fun?
It
I
was
killed
so
my
fun.
VHS by watching that film over and over.
Oh
and
my
over.
god,
my
that's
God.
so...
To the point that, because usually it was Duel of the Fates with the duel at the end.
Yeah.
That
It's just winding,
that-
rewinding and playing,
Yeah.
and rewinding and playing.
Talking about car crashes, this
Okay.
week Games Workshop are,
Oh,
for
no.
the first time ever, having a celebrity
Oh boy.
live streamed a battle.
I'm so excited.
Is this in a car park at One World?
Yeah.
No, we're doing that
Unfortunately
after,
not.
and then we're live streaming that.
Yeah,
Nice.
So for people who don't know, Games Workshop, they're announcing the 4th edition of Age of Sigmar. It'll already happened by now. But they have their new format, Spearhead. They have 2 celebrity wrestlers
So excited.
using celebrity very liberally.
Their names are Spear and Head.
Yeah. They're the 2
old
celebrity
head.
wrestlers battle it out, and they're going to live stream it, which I think is wild. Have you heard about this?
I have seen it, and
What do you
I've seen every
these sweaty
reaction.
men.
I've seen every reaction from, well, that's weird, but cool, to I can't wait for this, to this is the stupidest thing I've ever seen. And I'm truly just here like, I am so removed from wrestling as a thing. Like,
That's
I am
it.
aware it exists. I understand, like, had friends tell me about, like, the narrative arcs and all of the functions of everything like that. Like, I am completely removed from it. So for me,
I
it
think
is
that's
a curiosity.
I think that's like the most common reaction I've seen to it, because I obviously, maybe not obviously, but maybe looking at me, love wrestling. I think it's fun. I think it's in the same way as like Star Wars Episode 1. It's goofy. It's fun. It's silly. I just think it's like a funny pantomime.
I think you need 18 of them all to dress up as different Primarchs and do Royal Rumble.
Oh my God, yes.
Oh, no,
I
could
said,
get
That's
that.
an
I
incredibly
would-
good
so
idea.
That is an exceptionally good idea.
Shayna
Exceptionally
Baszler
good
as a
idea.
Custodes,
Why are they not
I'm
obviously.
going
Yeah.
to delete it so that we can email Games Workshop with we've got the
Just
best
bleep
idea
it
ever.
out right there. Just have
Yeah.
it. Just make it sound like he just strung 18 profanities together. But that, sorry, I gotta get on that. That's such a good idea, because most of the Horus Heresy just is like it. Because
Oh
you
my
can't
God, it
ever, they
is.
can't defeat each other permanently, because they all have to end up at these prearranged positions. So you do just get what is essentially just like,
Yeah.
like someone's a heel, someone like,
Yeah.
just you, how dare you defeat me again? I'll be back
Honestly,
another day. Like,
I would
Next
watch
video
the
for
shit
you
out of that.
was the Battle for Terror, just the Royal Rumble of the Horus Heresy.
Horus Heresy, more like Royal
billions
Rumble.
died, so, just like the Royal Rumble.
Rage in a cage.
You
But,
love wrestling.
Yeah.
I'm really excited for it. So it's so weird though. It is very.
Extremely.
I think the biggest, like I said, because I was just like, unironically, lol, this is gonna be fun. I did a little tweet about it, and I was like, I hope they actually end up fighting, because that would be great if they did like the double turn off like the top of the brim.
I would just love for them to play the game, and then as soon as they're done, just like body slam one of the loser into the table.
I think it'll end up like that.
What,
I
like a
think
table
they'll-
Would they
flip?
actually would they show miniatures being destroyed?
No,
No,
absolutely
no,
not.
absolutely
Yeah,
not.
that's
No,
it.
no. So I'm genuinely, I think it's funny. I think it's exciting. I engage in like wrestling content, so I'm not like, I'm kind of blinkered to seeing just massive oiled up men. Sorry. And then
We share
I'm the same,
that.
don't
We share
worry.
that in common.
well, but so like I
Whoa.
didn't think anything of it. But then I go
Got
into
some
the
margarine in the fridge.
I'm waiting. So then I go into the comment section, and like you said, people were like, what the fuck are you doing? It's like remember when they released like the Call of Duty thing?
That one was hilarious.
That's like,
that was one of the most fun days I've had on Twitter in a long
it was,
time.
and there's not a lot of those left.
No, there's not a lot of those. They're few and far between. I'll take
The
them when I can get
context
them.
of that is
Oh yes, so a while ago, Games Workshop announced a few like collaborations, and some of them were cool. Like they did some LARP stuff, and I was
they've
like
done
well
tanks
into
in
that.
World of Tanks.
Just
haven't they?
shotgunning that
Tanks
IP
in
out.
World of Tanks. I think if they did something with Sabaton, the band in the future, no one would blink an eye. Like that would be fine. But then they were like, "Hey, we're doing Call of Duty skins."
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty. And then they were just, I don't know why it was so bad. I tried, because I did a tweet about it, and I'm like, I genuinely can't put my finger on why this
so
is.
uncanny valley.
What is it that
Yeah.
looked, it was the guy, and I think it's the fact that it was just like a space marine, which is supposed to be, for me, like a super high gothic soldier.
Yeah, holding
of-
an American military assault rifle.
Holding,
Like,
holding like an AK-47.
Was he 8 foot tall, big and bulky?
No, he was a little guy.
No, it's a complete mismatch of aesthetics that
with
just
like the
do not
Oakleys.
work.
With the Oakleys.
Oh, the guy, yeah, the one that was my favorite image was just of a
Oakleys
Space
guy.
Marine scout with
Yeah.
again the
That
wraparound
was the worst one.
Oakleys
The
in
Sister
like
of Battle wasn't bad.
ultramarine scout armor which is just the weirdest thing.
It was so
It's
strange.
just like he looks
it was just divorced dad outfit.
It was giving extremely divorced. Sorry,
Yeah.
It's not that Peach is divorced.
no, Peach is very
I've
undivorced.
seen those dads in the pickup.
No,
You know what I mean?
it's giving like the guy at the checkout of a Walmart who you overhear expressing the worst opinions.
Yeah, literally, and he's definitely carrying.
That's right, commentators. Leave your worst opinions here.
But I
our
feel like other people had that reaction to the wrestling thing, and I get it. Like, it seems really weird. Like, they were like Celebrity Rumble and AEW, who's like the one that Claudio and the other guy, Kit, I think his name is. They're both into Warhammer.
Yeah.
They're both big nerds, and they've both expressed that for years and years. Like, it's genuinely a pretty cool matchup. But AEW's not as well known as like WWE. They're a smaller company. They do more, I think, like serious things occasionally, even though that's ridiculous to say.
Was he at the
Yes,
event
you
with
probably
Basler,
met
wasn't
him.
he?
Yeah. So he came around to Warhammer World. He's a lovely
are
boy.
they different?
So they were
wrestling?
originally both in WWE.
Okay.
But then Claudio left because, like, for similar reasons to us, I think. I think he just wanted a bit more creative freedom, which is really cute.
Also, WWE, not a great place
Not
to
a
be working.
great place to be working.
A lot of allegations.
So I think they have
Plenty of allegations.
at
Plenty.
AEW they have a lot more freedom in their bookings. So I think he was just like super into that, and he's been doing really well there, which is great. But yeah, so I think a lot of people like what do you think, Rob? What? Because you're not into wrestling. I'm just excited.
I have enjoyed a wrestle.
Oh wow.
A wrestle.
A wrestle.
Yeah, I've enjoyed a wrestle. I think it's kind of the most amazing like whiteboard room kind of conversation I would have loved to have been involved in.
Yeah.
Like, cause
I think I know how it went though. I think I know the people who have made the decision.
Who dropped the pitch and who was the hardest
So-
sell?
Yeah, well, I
That's
also
what
think
just
I think it's who like because it's kind of wild, right? Like if you're external to wargaming, watching two people who you like because what they do is they jump around and beat each other up and make
Playing
big
a war
things.
game? Yeah.
Playing a war
good
game
point.
is just you know literally going from Fast and Furious to just reading a book. Yeah, and you're like I don't really know how you're translating that audience over. However, if you go it from the internal outwards, which games are really. They are so internally focused.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
really hard. Like they're inside their own community and they only ever really advertise. It's like Warhammer Plus, right?
Yeah.
They're like, why would we ever want to make cool animations that drag other people from external the hobby in? That's wild. Obviously, that's exactly what you should do, right? And
What,
instead
like
they're-
have them on YouTube so that people will scroll past them, click on them, and then that's their widely available introduction to Warhammer, like a Astartes was.
Exactly.
Yeah, literally.
Exactly that. Right. But instead they go the
Zoom to his
opposite. They're like,
face.
no, we'll just only advertise this to the people internally. So externally, I have no idea what the wrestling does to bring people to Warhammer. But internally, as a spectacle, it's absolutely fucking delightful.
My observation on that has purely been about individual wrestlers themselves who, like, through their social media personalities, will end up talking about Warhammer.
Yes,
and their love for it. Like I've seen a bunch of that. Like the Venn diagram is like
it's a circle.
It's not entirely a circle, but it's like there's a significant overlap.
Oh
in a way
yeah,
that, like,
hella significant.
It's like what else would I want to see next? Like, okay, celebrity. I'd like to see celebrity hot wings while playing Warhammer. Also,
someone mentioned that as a really cool idea. Like people like
put Rick Priestley on the hot ones.
This is the problem.
Right? Like,
So like I said, I can see how that meeting would be, and it would be the managers being like, oh, you know who's cool? Like they will just be like, here's the celebrities that like Warhammer. So there's Henry Cavill, there's Rahul Kohli, who I think is doing Skulls this weekend. He's doing the Skulls preview. So
Ed Sheeran builds Warhammer.
yeah, we'll get
Ed
Eddie
Sheeran,
Boy.
yeah.
Ed Sheeran builds
Eddie
Warhammer.
Boy. And
I fell in love with Ed Sheeran when he was on the One Show, and he said, someone was like, you know, when you started like doing music and stuff like that, what was the first thing you brought? He was like, Lego Death Star. I was like,
oh, cool guy.
that'll be my first purchase. Solid.
Cool guy.
Yeah, I like the idea that the shape of you was just he was just talking about
the shape of you.
he's just talking about a mini.
Gonna clip up you this screw.
Oh, I love the shape of you.
Put this together with glue. 'Cause
Peach,
I'm doing
what
a
do you
bit.
think about it?
I used to be into wrestling a lot when I was a kid.
Okay.
What, wrestling?
Wrestling. So, you know, things like Legion of Doom, Ultimate
Oh,
Warrior, Undertaker.
I love Ultimate. Okay,
Yeah.
you're saying all my favorites. That's like that and like the early 90s to 2000s is like my era.
I don't know
as
if I got
well.
to the when it was the 2000s, but 90s,
very cool.
80s, 90s was
a lot
my
of booty
era.
ladies when they got into the 2000s.
Oh yeah,
Gonna have to get into
You
it.
don't say.
Is it? No, I forget her name now. There was like she was
remember.
hot, blonde hair.
Yeah.
Sabine. No,
Yeah,
not Sabine.
I feel like I know who you're talking about.
Saber, something like that. Anyway, she was
hot.
She was like, yeah,
was
on
hot,
the
yeah.
she was on the inside of the wardrobe. Got out the inside of the wardrobe on the ceiling. Not on the ceiling. I'm joking. She was not on the ceiling.
Joking. I'm joking.
Kevin
lad.
Costner was in the wardrobe. He was in there for a time.
Oh my God.
No one noticed. No one
Please,
noticed.
someone save him. I don't know where he is.
Anyway, you were
Mrs.
into,
Peach
you're into
used to tell this to
wrestling. Oh my
everyone.
God.
Mrs. Peach used to tell this to everyone because I used to have a picture of Robin Hood in my wardrobe. I don't know why.
What's wrong with
Robin
you?
Hood, Kevin Costner, Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Why do you
Obviously,
have a
why not?
picture of Kevin
Not
Costner?
Waterworld. There's no love for Waterworld.
We love
We love
Waterworld.
Waterworld.
but Prince of Thieves was
I'm amongst
where
friends.
it's at for me.
I'm going to say that's the most masculine men have ever been.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why
Kevin
did you
Costner
have
and
a
Robin
picture
Hood.
of him in your
Yeah,
cupboard?
Kevin Costner and Robin Hood.
Men in tights. Noise.
No. I think there's absolutely, it's just perfection.
Yeah, it's just the
I
right
agree
kind of
with you,
level.
Peach.
Just the right kind of level.
Yeah.
Just enough man that we can handle.
Back to wrestling. I guess I dropped off. I don't care. I kind of like, it would be fun to watch,
Yeah.
but I don't have like any strong opinions.
Oh
like,
no,
either
I'm
side.
not like if Claudio doesn't win, I jump at 12. Like I'm not. Like it's silly. It's obviously
silly.
very silly, and
Yeah.
a lot of people really aren't getting it.
But a lot of people right now are deeply, I think, uncomfortable with the sheer degree of
Nipple.
outside attention that 40K is getting, and I think that this is an
course,
extension of it.
mainstream.
The
Yes,
terror, the
interesting.
paralyzing terror of the mainstream, and like a wrestling organization, which is it's a wrestling organization. It's its own
big.
fandom in
Yeah.
itself, but there's been no official intersection before, and now there's an official intersection between this big fandom and this other fandom, and I think people who are comfortable in their little Warhammer bubble in whatever way might be
Yeah.
a little bit uncomfortable with this.
I used to be very much like that. Not that I was ever like a gatekeeper or anything like that. I was always like, I want Warhammer to be popular. But it was a bit weird when it started to get popular.
It's very weird,
right?
But
And I think
we've
a
been
lot
around it long enough that it's
Yeah.
just been like, oh, this is the weird thing that no one knew
Yeah,
about.
literally.
Yeah.
So I never was like, I don't want it to be popular. But I think a lot of people are scared to admit that when it did happen, and maybe people are experiencing it now, it is a bit weird.
It is.
It is a bit strange. And I think some people
not bad, but it's
no,
weird.
not at all. I think some people struggle with that feeling. And I think some people do struggle, and then they'll go for and I want to protect it and it's mine and I liked it for what's it called when you're like, I liked the band before it was cool kind of thing.
Yeah.
Right? Because
Black metal.
Black metal.
So do you think it's because of that, like that they were part of a cool club, but now
Yes.
the cool clubs? Because I do hear a lot of people go on about like, oh, there's all these new trendy people coming to Derby, and it annoys me because
Attractive people are playing
'cause
Warhammer now.
I was into Warhammer. I used to get my head flushed down the toilet and
Yeah.
I'm beaten up for doing it. I mean, Chess Club was cooler than Warhammer Club for a
It
long
actually
time.
was.
But no, that's it. Like,
Is this real?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of us would have grown. Like, I mean, I grew up fucking sad and nerdy. Like,
I
this
was-
is, and this is, yeah, but
I
and this
was
is
the
my
weird
escape.
kid in
Yeah.
high school, very thoroughly had my SpongeBob SquarePants bag, the whole time, unironically didn't understand why it was weird. I didn't even understand that people were making snide comments about me because I was probably trying to write fan fiction about Twilight in my brain.
Nice.
Nice.
I was like,
That involved
and then it
wrestlers.
was 50
To the
Shades of Grey.
bracelets.
But you know what I mean? As the weird kid, it is a culture shock to see attractive young people playing your weird little thing that you use to get away from attractive,
This doesn't make any
normal
sense to me.
people.
I'm so sorry.
It's been the same with comic book movies.
Yeah. Oh God, I can imagine people into comic books and Star Wars. I'm not huge into comic books or Star Wars.
Yeah.
I like Star Wars. I read a lot of BPRD and Hellboy, and that was my thing. I know, right? I like.
What's
I like a lot-
BPRD? Just
Bureau of Paranormal Research
and
Investigation.
Hellboy,
Thank you.
basically.
Hellboy,
Yeah,
yeah,
got you, yes.
Hellboy.
Yeah.
And that was but that must have been so hard for the I say hard for the people that struggle with that kind of thing.
Well, it was just like Avengers becoming just like a billion dollar property was just the wild
It must have been.
For me, actually, the weirdest moment of that was when the Guardians of the Galaxy movie first dropped.
Yeah.
Like when that got announced, I did it was a double take moment. I'm just wait, what?
So you're a huge comic book nerd,
Yes,
is what
huge
you're
comic
saying.
book nerd.
Okay.
But Guardians of the Galaxy was something I read when I was in college because Dan Abnett had written a run for
No
Marvel.
way!
Yeah, Dan
Really? I had
Abnett
no
has a
idea.
ton of work with Marvel Comics in
Crossover.
their cosmic Marvel side, their science fiction side.
no
And
idea.
Dan Abnett had taken Guardians of the Galaxy and turned into the team that you would recognize from the movie. And
Is that
had done
Dan
it,
Abnett?
yeah, and had
Oh
done a
my
lot
God,
of work.
that's
Had done a lot of
huge.
work on that. And then when Guardians got announced, and just like, are you serious? Like, this will be a delight to the Guardians' many fan. Like, they were unknown even by like comic book standards. Like, you could have someone who read like tons of issues of Avengers and never would have heard of
So
Guardians
they
of
just
the
like
Galaxy.
dug up a relic essentially.
Well, they
for-
did. They adapted something good. They could, but now Guardians.
And what
like,
was
Groot
the-
is a household name for the love of God.
Yeah,
like,
what was the
insane.
response like? Were there people gatekeeping Guardians of the Galaxy?
I don't think there was as much of like back then. I think in fandom there was a bit less of a gatekeepy sort of thing, and there wasn't as much. I think of an organization and like between comic book fans. But that being said, I was also not engaged with comic book fandom
I guess
spaces.
not.
I just had the few people in my life I chatted with comics.
Yeah.
And that's super healthy. I think that's...
Well, you're telling me it was.
Like, literally, the internet right now, and this is another thing I was going to say, is why do you think there's, like, with Warhammer especially, why are people so defensive of it?
I've always wondered that.
Yeah, me too. Like, because I've been in, like, I've not been active in a lot of fandoms, but I like a lot of cartoons and movies and books and generally just like
You like
games.
stuff.
I like
You like
stuff.
stuff.
Yeah.
You like stuff.
Yeah, you like stuff, man.
See,
So
what's that?
I've been
Stuff
in
is
a
great.
lot of like fandom spaces, and I've never seen something as guarded by like very like diehard fans who are like, no, if anyone gets into this, it will suddenly be terrible as Warhammer.
Are we talking about Warhammer?
Yes.
So-
it's the same. It's go on, Peachy.
Oh, we
No,
talk
no,
about
so I was
Warhammer.
going to say this reminds me of like the early 90s, early 2000s with, I'm not tarring everyone with the same brush here,
Yeah.
but historical
go ahead.
war gamers used to have quite an enclosed community. And if you were, sort of, when Warhammer was coming into more popularity, it was just like, that Warhammer thing, it's like really ruining it for us.
Oh,
It's
it's for,
only-
like, kids or
I once had
whatever.
a,
That's
I
interesting.
once had a guy,
That's
because I
hilarious.
worked at a retail shop in Alistry, and then I moved to workshop, and I saw that a guy who used to be a customer at this retail shop, and I saw him at the butcher's when I was getting some like meat and stuff, and he was just like, "You work at Games Workshop now, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah, I do,"
Cool.
because he was a war gamer and we used to
Yeah,
talk.
yeah,
He's
yeah.
like, "I hate you," and I'm like,
Not at the butchers.
"Well, why?" It was just like that company's ruining it for everyone else. I'm like, they're bringing new people into the hobby. I don't understand.
This is
but it
it.
kind of feels that the community is having that kind of same mentality.
That's
now.
I would say that this is
At least
like,
some of them are.
I think this is all noise. Like I mean this.
It is
like,
noise, yeah.
I mean this. I try to be really respectful, but like I honestly think like the sheer volume of people that like, or if anyone has a take about it not being something they're happy with online, it's the same group of people are happy about or unhappy about every other element. Like they're not people you see at an event. They're not people.
You think
you
it's like
see-
a circle of people that just go from one topic
this
to
is
the
what I
next
meant
kind of
when
thing.
you were like, oh, well, I just had my friends and we all talked about it. I'm like, that's extremely healthy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
because
You're-
none of the people I know in real life are like that at all.
No.
Yeah, like I ultimately think like the wrestling thing is incredibly dumb. But, like it'll be fun.
How dare you? It is dumb.
like what's it doing? Like I think it's dumb.
They just have a list of celebrities, and the wrestlers are those celebrities. So if they're like, there's not a lot of celebrities that I think like the list isn't going to be long. I don't think they have a huge amount of choice.
I think you've got like if you wanted some actual crossover, there's the entire incredibly well-known D&D community, like the celebrities in that part.
But maybe
Yeah,
they don't
yeah.
want to get into D&D.
But you'd want the audience who like D&D. You assume you're going to be able to
Oh, I
bring
see
into
what you mean.
Yeah.
Like that's so much less of a jump than wrestling. 'Cause
Exactly
the-
what I'm saying. I'm
so
saying if you were
yes,
thinking about it,
smart.
right? Like, but it's just a dumb thing. But it's fine. Like it's an exciting dumb thing.
Yeah.
That's
Like
fun.
for me, truly, when I saw it, I was just like, "This is great for anyone who likes Warhammer and wrestling," and that's all that matters for me.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I don't
like-
have any opinion on it because I don't do wrestling.
But I think the
like,
whole
People see
like,
it as like a decline in Warhammer's quality, I think.
I just
know,
need to make an amendment as well. Like,
Oh, yes.
With historical war games, most of them are amazing people. By the
Most
way.
of them are great
That-
people.
in all
flashing
capacities.
that
I'm
up
just
on the
that
camera.
was a perception of
If
its
you're
time
listening
kind of
from
At
your
the time.
care
Yeah, yeah.
home,
I
we
definitely
love
think
you.
thing. So many people are chilled about wargaming and stuff like that these days, but there was definitely a perception when I was younger where it felt like you weren't part of the group kind of thing.
I think so much of this stuff gets dismissed as soon as you meet up with other people.
Yeah.
Like this conversation between all of us.
You're so good
like,
at touching grass, Rob. You're so
Touching
good
grass.
at it. You're so
a
good at it.
skill,
What about
though.
touching
It's
cloth?
such a skill.
Touching cloth.
Touching cloth.
I don't know. That sounds like a bad euphemism. I don't like
not
it.
know what
at all.
touching cloth is?
What does touching cloth mean?
It means you're dying for a poo.
Does it? Oh, because you're touching cloth with you.
This feels like a Michelin web sketch
Wow.
right now.
That's a short for me there.
Welcome to Euphemism Cast.
Have you not heard of
Yeah,
turtling?
I've heard of turtling. Yeah.
Touching
Yeah.
cloth.
Touching
I've
cloth.
heard of that.
Truly, my little like grand unified theory on gatekeeping is like the most charitable interpretation that I'm willing to give it.
Yes.
Is as like an unconscious reaction to I am emotionally invested in this thing. This thing is my thing because I don't share it with a lot of people. It is either my little personal hobby that I do in my life to feel connected with or to be creative, and either I have a lovely group of local hobbyists, or I just connect with people online, or it's a thing that I do in my like little hobby workspace just to be, just to unwind.
Yes.
And when I see more people having more eyes on it, I get defensive about that. This is not me, by the way. This is the proverbial
devil's
eye.
advocate. Devil's advocate. Yeah.
Like, I get defensive on it because they don't understand it the way I do, and they don't understand why it's
They don't
important
love
to
it
me.
like I love it. Yeah.
They don't love it why I love it. But that is the most charitable interpretation of what can be very...
still wildly toxic, even the most charitable interpretation.
It still lacks a degree of emotional maturity, if I'm being honest.
So I think it's a level like worse than that. I think from someone who's like not very secure about themselves, I think a lot of it is insecurity in themselves.
Entirely.
Like, so if, you've got your nerdy little thing and you're surrounded by other nerds and maybe they don't make you feel intimidated because you're all nerdy and stuff like that. And then you're like, oh, Games Workshop's doing something with Henry Cavill, and now there's going to be all these like new people who watch Netflix and they like Love Island and they're now gonna like Warhammer, and you're like, oh no, those people are like grounded, established, popular, attractive people. I'm gonna feel like shit.
Yeah, well,
because
what about two Love Island contestants playing Age of Sigmar?
That's my
yes. Oh my God, Love Island Warhammer.
So this is my follow-up. What I wanted
that.
to ask you also take a moment to think about it. We're gonna go through some different game systems, and obviously YouTube comments. Let me know different game systems and your celebrity matchup.
Zendaya.
For
who you would want to play?
Yeah, so you want
I
a celebrity
love
match
this.
that's been live streamed
Okay.
for one of the games.
And we can pick any celebrities.
You can pick
I'm
any
so bad
celebrities,
at
alive or
names.
dead as well.
Oh, shut up.
Okay,
All my
so you can
celebrity
have-
crushes are dead.
Okay, weird. Okay, all right. So we'll start with the series we'll start with is Lord of the Rings.
Lord of the Rings, yep.
Lord of the Rings, which is a game you can play MSBG, right? Okay.
You're going to say Andy Serkis and...
This is going to sound
I'm
like
going to
what
guess
you're
yours.
saying.
Yeah.
You're
Sean
gonna
Bean
guess-
and Andy Serkis.
That's good. That's good.
Is
Just
that
because I've
close?
met them. I've not met Sean Bean.
Oh, have you
though.
not met Sean Bean?
Not yet, no.
Oh, we got to make that happen.
Soon.
Soon
Wait,
to
okay,
me.
Louise, what about you? Let's start
I'd
with you.
actually say Andy Serkis and Ian McKellen.
So that's yours?
Yeah, that's mine.
Andy Serkis and Ian McKellen.
Stole Ian McKellen from me.
Sorry, you can have him still. You can have him still.
I'm
Oh, but
gonna
you
win this one.
can have what is it, Christopher Lee? You
Yeah,
said
you can
alive or
Christopher
dead?
Lee, yeah.
Christopher Lee and Elijah Wood.
Yeah. Christopher Lee and Elijah
Elijah
Wood.
Wood's dead.
Oh my God, you nearly got me there. Did you see my face? I thought you meant he was dead. I was like about to be heartbroken because my little boy had died. My little boy.
Elijah Wood.
Who do you want?
Christopher Lee.
It's two
people.
celebrities?
To play against each other.
I would do Jonathan Rhys-Davies.
Nice.
Which one's he?
and Gimli.
That's great.
So I do him pitted against, I would probably say Carl Urban, because he always struck me as a bit
Which one's
cool.
Carl Urban?
AMR.
Oh, there you go. I'm so bad at names.
I want Tolkien.
Oh, yeah. Tolkien.
I guess. Okay.
Yeah,
sure. And the
Tolkien.
literal wizard of the
Versus
north.
Hitler.
Versus.
Once again, didn't Tolkien already fight Hitler in an actual war?
That's the deep law. That's the deep law.
Actually,
Because when the Reich, because they became
We
popular,
meet
didn't
again,
they?
Tolkien.
There is questions that Hitler actually fought in World War One. He was like just like baggage and
just
at the back, but made himself
stolen
seem
valoring.
stolen valor.
Would have
Yeah,
put him
yeah.
past
Didn't do
him,
much at all.
terrible
But
guy.
the story is that after the Hobbit, like the Reich were really Germany and the Reich were excited, weren't they, about like the depiction of some of the characters and races. And so then
He touched on
intentionally
this.
in a letter back, Tolkien was like, no, fuck you, and then changed a load of it in the Lord of the Rings, which is the OG lore
Lore
retcon.
change, yeah.
Literally fascist fans were like, oh, we like this, and then the author's like, no, fuck you. So then now I want him to be like, I want him to kick his ass on the table.
What if Hitler
truly just
won?
say,
That would be so upsetting.
I love that, like, the three of us were just like, oh, the movies, Lord of the Rings, yeah, celebrities, absolutely, let's do
Tolkien
that. And you
and
went with
Hitler.
the original author and Hitler. Hitler.
I went
I feel like
deeply meta.
No, you
I feel like
went
with Rob's
ideological.
choices,
You
it's
took
going
that
to
to-
always be Hitler. Like it's always going to be versus Hitler.
I'm going deep on the next one then.
All right.
Okay, what's the next
All
one?
right, okay. So next one, we'll make it your game system. We'll do the Horus Heresy is what we'll do. So this is a big one. Okay, so Louise has got one, so we're ready.
Okay, so I've got one. I want Mankind, the wrestler, as the Emperor of Mankind.
Versus, and they're playing 3,000 points, Horus Heresy current rules.
And just a child. I don't know. Like, who's a child celebrity right now? I don't know, but just a literal, like, 6-year-old.
Okay, that's good.
I just think that would be really funny. Versus a massive old wrestler playing Horus Heresy. But he's, like, properly... Like, I don't know if I'd put him in, like, the Golden Throne and he has to literally have the text-to-speech device.
Right.
But probably that versus a child.
All right, nice.
As kind of like a symbol of like the emperor and his children being cast into the war.
Oh, okay, now we're getting meta. Oh,
Yeah,
all right,
Cast.
okay.
Okay, Horus Heresy.
Horus Heresy would be entirely. I do like Miriam Margoyles versus like something like Tom Hiddleston. Just people who are like just because like Miriam would be someone who I'd feel would just randomly like be extremely good at this.
Probably.
Like you would underestimate her and she'd have all of the reactions exactly
She's
the way
already
you
planned
needed
out the
to.
entire battle,
She has like a flawless army composition and everything like that.
Amazing.
And I don't know, Tom Hiddleston's just always kind of fun.
See, I'm just imagining
He'll bring in the
Professor
kids.
Sprout versus Loki.
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
literally how I'm seeing it.
That
They're
works.
dressed up.
I love
They're
that.
dressed up.
What about
Okay.
you, Peach?
I'm thinking, I did have it and then I lost it because I was too busy thinking of Professor Sprout and,
As you do.
Loki. So
As you
Genghis
do.
Khan,
Okay, nice.
Genghis Khan versus Stephen Hawking.
Stephen Hawking, you're gonna get
One very logical and one very aggressive.
Hydrogen bomb versus crying
See,
baby.
what Genghis Khan will do is he'll turn up before the game
my
with
favourite
a
meme.
dice tray that's white to say, you know, if you give up now, you can, or women and children,
Yeah.
and everyone can leave.
Wow.
Oh my God, Peachy.
Wow.
And then if nothing happens within the next few minutes, he'll put a red one down. It's like,
Okay.
all the men die now. All the men die now, Stephen Hawking.
All the men die now.
Did you not know this
Stephen
used to,
Hawking.
is it Genghis Khan that used to do the tent thing?
Yeah, you mean the what's
feels
it
right.
He
called?
pitched a tent up before besieging the castle. White was like, everyone can leave, but you have to join, the men have to join the
Oh,
army.
like he gave them ultimatums.
Yeah. Red was like, all the men die, and then black was,
I
everyone
just love,
dies.
All the men die now, Stephen Hawking.
All the men will die, Stephen Hawking.
All of them.
This is tough.
Professor.
So yeah, Stephen Hawking,
Oh,
Genghis
that's
Khan.
good. That's good.
Yeah, Stephen Hawking will be chaos.
Okay.
Is he a celebrity?
Yes.
Stephen Hawking is a celebrity.
They made a movie
incredibly.
of him.
He's one of
I know
history's
he's
greatest
famous.
minds. How dare
I
you?
know, but does that make you a celebrity?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I was thinking of SpongeBob SquarePants. but I
Genghis
didn't know.
Khan is like the OG celebrity. Like everyone ended
Oh,
up
yeah,
knowing
no,
about
that's
him.
fair.
Yeah.
That's
there was
fair.
just
Yeah,
crap.
yeah.
Everyone's
a
got
lot.
a bit of him in them, haven't they?
Well,
Apparently.
that's what they said. Anyway.
For the Horus Heresy, the deep lore, the serious game, the setting that's incredibly,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah.
I'm going for the Kardashians.
Oh, shit. Kim versus Chloe.
Imagine. I
that
can't
would-
believe you've done that to me.
The
That's
chorus
not how they sound.
heresy.
That
I love
would-
it.
Chorus Heresy.
The chorus.
I want them to just be.
Oh my
absolute,
God,
like, I can't believe you've
Chloe.
done
And
this
then
to me.
one of them just offers the other one a can of Pepsi to like.
Oh my God, that's my
Peace.
Shut
favorite.
down.
It ends with what's her face just coming in, running in with a can of Pepsi,
Yeah.
like
Yeah,
she
yeah,
fixed
yeah.
it. That's actually. I want to pick the Kardashians.
That is a collab that would destroy.
I cannot
everything.
wait.
Like-
What's the really famous lassie called? The lassie one. The one.
I don't know who
You're
they
not
really
referring to
are.
the dog. I
Kim.
imagine.
No, there's Kim. She's not. Oh, what's her name? She's like the most famous one right now.
I only know Kim, and that's it.
She's not even a
The one that murdered,
Kardashian.
that ran over someone?
No.
don't know.
Maybe.
Okay, next up we're going to. I mean, do we want to?
Googling
Do we want
the
to do?
Kardashians.
We'll do Age of Sigmar. Or Age of Sigmar we've got.
For Age of Sigmar, I would just pick like the two most famous celebrities at the time, like straight up Zendaya, like get people into it, right?
Oh really?
Yeah, just like get people into it. So freaking Zendaya and probably her little boy. Who's a famous man? Who's like the most famous man?
Honestly, at
God.
this point, Timothy Chalamet.
Oh, there you go. Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just to-
Zendaya
yeah,
and
just to do
Timothy
a Dune
Chalamet. Yeah,
collab with
because
this.
literally everyone be like, what?
Have you all seen there's a new Dune series?
Yeah.
They yesterday the HBO just dropped. There's a new Dune
Yeah,
series.
it's been in the works for a while, but they went through a name change, so
It
like
was
it's taken
super
a bunch of people
secret,
by
and it's
surprise.
just an entire. Anyway, it's just a
didn't
side
know
note.
that.
Yeah, it looks really good. So Peach, Age of Sigmar.
I don't know.
So what is it? Age of Sigmar is a fun, high fantasy...
Skeletor versus He-Man.
Ooh, those are...
That's Sigmar in the gash, isn't it?
No, I'm going to go with... who are my favourite celebrities? I think... Sean Bean. Clearly Sean Bean. Sean Bean and Kevin Costner.
Oh.
Go with that. So
Sean Bean versus Kevin Costner.
Yeah, my two wardrobe poster boys.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I love that you've got pictures of boys in your wardrobe.
I'm gonna get rid of Sean Bean.
What?
I'm gonna get rid of Sean Bean because I'm gonna save him for Silver Bayonet. Sorry.
Nice.
It's gonna be Pamela Anderson.
Oh, that's so good.
Solid. Solid.
What do you think?
I'm going to put Age of Sigmar through its competitive gaming tests by assigning Marshal Ney and Marshal Murat, two of Napoleon's generals, to really
That's
test
good.
out
the
tactical expertise of Age of
That's
Sigmar.
I would
good.
have them for Turnip 28. Actual Napoleon.
No, I'm a fan of Ney, but he just ran a load of horsemen into squares, though, didn't he?
Exactly.
So that's how it works.
Nerds.
Just putting on those cavaliers through the cities of Sigmar cavaliers through their tests.
Fan of Navy just ran cavalry to squares. It's already my favourite line from this entire podcast.
I like
I've never expected that ever.
I like all the men will die.
Just
Stephen.
previously the Pamela Anderson guy.
Chris Peach, big fans of Pamela Anderson and Marshal Ney.
Oh, God.
Also, good idea for a man who was very fond of running horses into things to have a name like he did.
Nate. That's funny.
That is funny. If I was to try and find someone, I'd probably, like, for Age of Sigmar specifically, I'd like to find two people who just do a lot of, like, to quote Louise from another show, heroic amounts of LSD. I think
Best comment in that show.
Is there anything that can't be said for a heroic amount of LSD
Absolutely
now?
not.
I don't know. I don't actually know who are famous, like, people who do
LSD
that.
users.
Yeah, like, but I think
There's a lot of
Hunter S.
lassie-
Thompson?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was going along those lines because I was just thinking.
Steve Jobs, he's dead, isn't it?
He's not cool.
Hunter
though.
S. Thompson versus Steve Jobs. Both of them absolutely off their gourds. Something.
That'd be such an ego battle.
They wouldn't play any Warhammer. They just
fight.
yeah.
And then whoever lost, the ego death would just crush them into like a small piece of matter. Yeah, something like that. I think the high fantasy element of Age of Sigmar is
Tell
actually
us
really
your
exciting.
celebrity couple that you'd like to play Warhammer.
Sound off in the comments
comments
below.
And the
Sound
final
up.
one,
Smash
we're
that
going to
like
hit up
button.
40k.
Ooh.
Oh, did we not? Oh, shit.
Yeah, they're different though,
Horus
aren't
Heresy
they?
is
Like,
different, yeah.
I guess
they
no,
are
I forgot.
different.
Oh,
So
okay.
that's okay. Mine is super easy. Mine's Vin Diesel.
Oh, he would as well because he
would,
plays
would.
D&D.
He would.
Yeah. But he would take it really seriously, but because he's
but
so dumb.
The
Yeah.
guys
Like,
would
it
love
would
it.
be
The boys would
hilarious.
love it. The
Yeah.
boys would be like, "This boy's my boy. I love this boy."
Yeah, they'd be like, yeah.
Yeah.
And and
Family.
Like, like every time he rolled a bolter shot, he'd be like, bolter. Like,
They would
I've
have it
got
on
mine.
Warhammer
Got
Plus. I
mine.
don't have mine.
yeah, okay. So
Okay, but-
definitely Vin Diesel.
Yes.
But I don't know who I want to. I'm going to come back to who I want to match him up against. I'll come back to that.
I want-
I've got a simple one.
Oh,
it's,
yeah.
it's going into the wrestling vein.
I wonder.
Nice.
And it's Randy Savage
Yes.
versus Hulk Hogan.
Perfect. That's
Oh,
perfect.
nice,
What
nice.
factions
Think of
would
that
they
intro
play?
game. Just think of that intro game. They were going to be tearing their shirts off.
Yeah, but what are they playing? What are their armies?
That's a good point. I think
Randy Savage.
Randy Savage. I don't know. Hulk Hogan's going to be Korn.
Obviously.
Slash versus Korn. Yeah, the good old grudge match. Yeah, I like that.
I don't know who mine are. I just think like two babies.
A hydrogen bomb versus a crying baby. Coughing baby.
I am
sorry.
picking Hydrogen Bomb versus Crying Baby.
All right, perfect.
In the tradition of taking incredibly stupid things incredibly seriously, and also just to destroy the minds of everyone who says Warhammer isn't political, I would put anti-fascist scholar Hannah Arendt versus turn of the century Irish socialist organizer James Connolly.
Perfect.
Oh, you did. Oh, you terrible.
In a Space Marine versus Space Marine battle.
I thought you were going to say like
Black
Richard
Templars versus
Spencer.
Grey Knights.
Wow. Riveting.
Black Templars versus Minotaurs. Minotaurs. Sorry.
Minotaurs? I
Minotaurs,
say
I always put it. This is
Question.
yes.
Chimera or Chimera?
Chimera.
Yeah.
Who says Chimera?
It's, an old English friend of mine not at college, when I was at college at Workshop Derby, used to call them chimeras, and he was like, "No, that's how you pronounce it." I was like,
Chimera.
"I always thought it was chimera."
You were
answer that
apparently going to quiz me
Yes.
on Warhammer
Okay,
pronunciation.
right.
Ooh, yeah.
I wonder if there's a thing for that. What are you going to say?
Nothing.
All right, let me also.
Did
her
we get
name.
your other opponent?
Yes,
Oh, yes.
sorry, for 40K.
Yeah, I just wanted something like Dolph Lundgren's also another
Dolph
good shout
Lundgren.
because he's
so smart.
actually he's so smart,
Yeah,
but also looks dumb. Like,
What
so
about
that's-
Jason Statham?
Jason Statham? I don't know. Like, I kind of vibe on Statham, but I also am like, I reckon you're a knob. Like, I don't know if that's true, and I don't think I'm going to lose any Jason Statham fans. So everyone, I'm not listening.
You mean
again.
hit movie of the year, The Beekeeper?
The bee. I can't wait to
He
watch
kept
that.
a bee.
I can't wait
It's
to
so
watch
much
it.
fun. It's so much fun.
Because I was hoping the mechanic was about fixing stuff, but he fixed different kind of things in mechanic.
Yeah, the mechanic.
And then the Meg, and then Meg 2.
Meg 2, Meg 1 is good. Meg 2 is excellent, obviously.
The Beekeeper is a phenomenal time because my eye for movies and productions, I'm watching this and being like, it's like set in like starts in Massachusetts or something, and I'm like, this is clearly rural England. Like, or like this is 30 kilometers outside of London. What are we talking about here? And like it keeps trying to pretend that it's taking place in America, but they're choosing like the most British looking like locations and backdrops they could possibly choose. It's so weird.
I've enjoyed all of the like whiteboard meetings that have been going on in like different production companies ever since like John Wick. They were like, right, okay, yeah, so someone took
How can
his
we John
dog.
Wick this up?
Yeah, like, and it's like, okay, someone took his bees. Like, you know,
Someone took his bees, just minorly inconvenienced him.
what's going to cause it? Because my favourite of that is, if anyone is a martial arts fan, is there's the Ong Bak series.
Oh, you made
Phenomenal.
me watch On
Bangers.
Back. It was
Yeah.
great.
But
Have you
Ong
seen
Bak-
it?
but Ong
I
Bak-
have,
It's
yeah.
kind of
We've
odd.
not seen On Back. That's so weird.
That's incredible. Okay, so there's On
actually
Back, then
crazy.
there's On Back 2 and 3, but
Yeah.
in between them is Warrior King, which is where someone just stole Tony Jaa's elephant.
Yeah.
and then he
That's a
just-
hard thing
Banger.
to steal.
So I've got a question to go around
Oh
everyone.
yes,
Oh, yeah.
oh yes, oh yes.
Really mundane job. Pitch me a movie with the title of the mundane job.
What do you mean?
So I'm going to go with The Chemist. That's all. So
So
you got
wait.
The Beekeeper, right?
Oh,
Yeah.
like the
So it's-
constant gardener being one.
Yeah. So
right?
I've got The Chemist,
Terrible
right?
movie. The
perpetual
The perpetual chemist.
Perpetual chemist.
The Chemist
Okay.
is featuring Jason Statham, clearly.
Yeah.
Okay.
He has a doctorate in chemistry. I don't know what you do for a chemist.
Wait. So does it have to be like a good movie with a shit name or like a
Whatever. It could be a really good
Administrative
name.
Oh, so
assistant.
it's just one job. The
It's
title of-
just pick a normal mundane job and
I've
then
got
give
it,
it
I've
a
got it, I've got
Hollywood
it.
sort of vibe.
Administrative assistant.
Oh, that's good.
Administrative. Go for
Just,
it.
good.
just purely for taking like a title that is like a nightmare to market words that are that long. But again, it would be like
I love-
Jason Statham sitting in a suit that he barely can fit into, and then someone signs the wrong form or doesn't send the right email.
I've got it.
And then he is just
Didn't triplicate
destroying
it.
his way through a skyscraper full of like offices.
So, The Administration of a Constant Woman, starring Dolly Parton.
The administration
Day
of a
one,
constant-
I'm seated in the theater for that.
She's just working in like admin for a company, and she thinks
She's working 9 to
9 to
5.
5.
She's working nine till 5.
Right there.
It's all there, man. It's all there. So that's mine. The
And with that
administration
being
of it.
all-
She's
and
a
with-
constant woman, like 24/7 woman.
Is she Jolene? Is the name character called Jolene?
Yeah,
The
well,
villain
the
is- the
villain
antagonist
is
is
Jolene.
Jolene.
Oh my god, the administration of a constant woman, the 9 till 5 story, is an and it's just like Dolly Parton, but she just plays the most mundane woman ever, and it's kind of like Cats, a bit of a musical mix-in, a little bit like
It
you know,
also has
like
a CGI
Mamma Mia.
Rebel Wilson.
Yeah, CGI Rebel Wilson. It's a little bit Mamma Mia. It's a little bit
Directed
like,
by Zack Snyder.
It's a little bit country. It's a
Lots of
little
slow
bit rock
motion.
and roll. It's a little bit, that's me. The administration of a constant woman.
Sorted.
Starring Dolly Parton, a 9 till 5 story.
Well, amazingly, that's what that entire scene will be played out on the Patreon video, which is what we're recording now. So then we're ending this video.
What with administration of a constant woman starring Dolly Parton, a 9 till 5
the end.
story?
It's the end.
Oh.
It's the end. Because last week's podcast was 2 hours, and
Oh,
I don't,
yes, fair.
And I don't know if
Yeah,
you know
we,
this, but actually, the longer the podcast, the more editing I have to do. So,
is
I'm just
true.
ending it because I'm like, that's going to be enough.
You talk
That's
too
enough
long.
work for
Too
me.
long now.
That's fair. That's fair.
I really appreciate that.
I've done a nearly, it was 55-minute video, and I took quite a long time to edit.
Yeah, sometimes I get through a video and I'm like, I'm done. Do you ever just wrap up lore really quickly?
This is why I don't go on camera. I just overlay images on each other. My video editing is extremely bad and rudimentary.
It works.
That's all.
But you do well.
You do well.
That's the important bit.
And thank you for coming on our Juggz.
Thank you for having me.
Would you like to shout out anyone?
Yeah. Would you like to?
I know, I hate this question. I'm almost like,
shout out everyone around this table.
Hey.
Nice.
You too, bud.
Oh, God. Shout out now. Oh, no.
I do this. I stress out. I have a list of people I'm going to shout out, then I forget.
Okay, have you got the list ready?
I don't have a list ready, but I'll chuck one in, which is Jordan Sorcery. Just shout him out. He's doing some good stuff at the moment with his podcast.
We love
Getting
Jordan.
some good guests on as well. He's getting some real good guests on. So
I will always shout out my dear friend Snipe and Wib. Like, their Codex Compliant is just an absolute delight, especially if you got into the hobby. When I got into the hobby, that's just the absolute best.
I want to shout out Rob for editing Juggz.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
Good
like
job,
it's
Rob.
all well and good that we all turn up here and have a good time, but then the rest of the week Rob actually has to re-listen to all of my bullshit once more, and he hates that. So thank you, Rob.
I don't hate it. It's actually a pleasure. It's actually really fun. It's actually quite inspiring doing the editing, to be honest, because it's quite fun. You get to see how engaging people are. I try to talk every time I come on now. You, dear listener, will attest that I am boring as fuck.
Same.
Like every time I'm like, shut up.
We're here for Suggs. That's why it's called Juggz.
Someone
That's
said that I should
terrible way of
talk
putting
less. You're boring. Apparently, Peachy only has 3 jumpers, and that's a problem.
Yeah. I do have more.
But this is why I brought the Kaiju shirt.
That is so
me.
cool. I love this shirt. So shout out to your shirt as well.
Yeah. Well,
Rob,
that's very nice of you.
Who's your shout?
This week, it's a great question. I don't know. We've got Max coming on in a couple of weeks from
Is he
Turn
coming
It.
on too?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So that's going to be super cool. Loved having James on last week. That was really fun. It was actually really fun editing through James's.
Oh, James is great.
Because he was just really engaged. Just lovely to have you here. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Shout out
Yeah,
to
it was a surprise. We got the message this morning before I left.
Yeah,
Yeah, literally, I only messaged Peach. I was like, oh, has anyone told Peach? Oh, nope.
It's fine. I'm chill like a fridge is what I said.
Chill
And then
like
you said
a
something after,
fridge.
like, I don't even know what that means.
I'll shout out, because I think I'm going to do this quite a lot. I'll shout out the Doom Song people, which is fun. So back there, I've been having some really, really good conversations about why people play games recently, and I've really enjoyed...
Caesar Inc., isn't it?
Caesar Inc., yeah. I've really enjoyed those conversations, because I don't think there's necessarily like an exact answer, but I think there's this like really fun, like ephemeral
You find
kind
this
of like...
really interesting.
Yeah, like the
don't
driving
you?
factor of like what makes people want to play,
Yeah.
what makes people engage in the hobby. I think your aspect of what we all do, because we're all slightly different in this. Like the lore thing is actually a real great service to the community. So I guess I'll shout out all the lubers.
The Lubers.
Oh, my Louis Vuitton.
We just had to get one final use of that word in, didn't we?
That's your takeaway from this visit.
Apparently. They're going to be all up in my comment sections now.
Time of the video.
Lifetime
we
luber
lubed
here.
up some Warhammer lore.
So yeah, who's your shout out?
Are we?
The Snipe
We
and
did
Web.
that, yeah.
Oh, you
Sorry,
did
no,
one.
no,
Oh well. In that
So
case.
goodbye.
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 Goodbye. Thank you.
Goodbye.
And.